Hello. How are we today? It's hot as hell outside. I say as it's like 74 degrees, but still. We're getting into summer, people, and that means the weather's gonna get hot. And that also means that I'm gonna die in this room. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Anyway, hello. It's good to see you all today. I'm glad you are all here. And, yeah, before we get into what we're doing today for stream and just some, general chit-chat before that even, let's do our announcements for the month. Now, of course, I have a lot to talk about discussing related to Palestine, so I'm going to talk about everything else that I have listed, including a couple of other things I forgot to list on here, and then come back and talk about Palestine, as per usual. So, let us, if you want to take a walk, go take a walk. No one will judge you. Anyway, if we're going, let's get on with our talking points. Right, sorry, got distracted. Sudan is currently in a war between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Sudanese children have been burned. I believe I have seen reported there. I don't know whether they were alive or not. I'm going to assume that they were alive when they were burnt. Dubai / the United Arab Emirates do not have gold mines. They are killing, raping, and terrorizing Sudanese people for their gold. And there have been calls to boycott the United Arab Emirates tourism and don't buy gold from them, of course, because that would be supporting the genocide of the Sudanese people. They are also they are in the midst of a famine, which is the same thing as the Yemeni people. They are also in a famine and are just in general in economic ruin. They are just The Yemeni people have been struggling for a really long time, especially after the US, UK, all other forces banded together to bomb Yemen because of their support for the Palestinian people. Congo is in the midst of a silent genocide. Many are being worked to death as slaves in mines in order to mine for coltan, which is a valuable mineral that is used in electronics such as phones and computers. They are the #1 producer of this mineral, and millions are being killed. Women are being sexually assaulted, and men and children are forced to work in inhumane conditions, with over 6 million people having been killed and counting. Of course, there were bombs dropped in Goma. There have been over 40 deaths. I still haven't found an approximate number of this. And of course, Haiti is also going through gang violence. And I believe also a bunch of women are being raped there as well. Let's see. So if you would like to support the people of Sudan, Congo, Yemen, and Haiti, there are links below in the description, as well as links for the month of important links for the month of June. My apologies. There is a link to a campaign that was started by a TikTok user at @acuteinsp _insp on with her team Mutual Aim to collect money for the Dominican Republic of Congo, Sudan, and Tigray. The donations will be divided between the 3 causes. If you would like to donate but don't have the funds to donate between multiple campaigns, this is a great way to help Congo, Sudan, and Tigray. I have also found an organization called Prosperity International that is currently raising $70,000 to provide hygiene kits to displaced people in the Kanyarichinya camp, in the Dominican Republic of Congo, and the goal is to provide 10,000 hygiene kits. These kits will contain essential items such as soap, toothpaste, and sanitary products, so there is a link to that also down in the description if you would like to provide aid. It is Indigenous Heritage Month. Happy Indigenous Heritage Month to those who are indigenous, and that does not just mean those who are Native American, those who are indigenous to whatever country they are from. And generally we should celebrate indigenous people all the time, not just in this one month. So if you would like to support indigenous people, I have links down below in the important links for the month of June. Juneteenth is also coming up in about 2 weeks or so. In addition to that, I forgot to mention this last time because it just slipped my mind. My apologies. It is also Black Lives Matter Month, Caribbean Heritage Month. I think I was like, is it Caribbean Heritage Month? I believe it was, and I was correct. And it is also African American Music Appreciation Month. So if you would like to support Black people, African American people, and Caribbean people, I do have links below that I have bumped up for this month. And I will next stream include links to articles that are discussing Black Lives Matter Month, Caribbean Heritage Month, and African American Music Appreciation Month, because I forgot to do that. That slipped my mind today. So yeah, that is those are the ones that I forgot. So sorry. Right. The next up, of course, it is Pride Month. Entirety of June is dedicated to Pride Month, which is supporting LGBT people. Of course, for this month, as I stated last stream, I want to do my best to be a good ally to intersex people, and I have been doing my God, I'm so sorry, my stutter's been bad lately. My due diligence in trying to get, hello, welcome in, to get resources to educate myself further about intersex people, and I have found some wonderful resources, some of which I haven't gotten around to yet, but I included a couple of resources to in organizations that support intersex people in the description as well, and I will discuss my findings with you in the next segment after this. But also, I just wanted to, I wrote this in the Discord, and I want to read this out because I think it is important. Remember that Pride came to fruition because of the efforts of trans women like Marsha B. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, and bi women like Brenda Howard, and butch lesbians like Stormy Della Rivia. I feel bad I can't pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry, Miss Stormy. Without BIPOC, there would be no Pride. And also without bi women, there would be no Pride. Remember them as you are celebrating, and also remember the queer and trans Palestinians who cannot celebrate Pride as they are being genocided, as well as all others from other colonized nations, those who are going through a silent genocide or even a public genocide. Remember those who are queer and trans in those nations, in those countries who are being genocided and are queer and trans as well and cannot celebrate Pride as you are celebrating Pride this month. Just keep them in your thoughts. This isn't me trying to, like, upset you by any means or guilt you. This is just like, it's just like a reminder of sorts, I guess. The Oaxaca fires were devastating in Oaxaca, Mexico, especially to the indigenous population that reside there, and the government has done nothing to support the people who were impacted. There are links below if you would like to support the indigenous people impacted by the Oaxaca fires. And the Rio Grande do Sul floods in Brazil were immensely devastating with, let me read a little thing I wrote out, actually, just so I don't get the numbers wrong. Rescue efforts are ongoing in Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil's southernmost state, after floods and landslides left at least 100 people dead and displaced more than 200,000 people. As well as local residents, rescue groups have also dedicated themselves to saving pets stranded on rooftops and in flooded homes, so they're generally still trying to rebuild. I don't know if it is still flooded or if the floods have subsided and there's just been devastation left behind, but still, there are links below if you would like to support those in Rio Grande do Sul. Most of the articles that I have linked, if not all of them, are in Portuguese. So if you don't mind, like, auto-translating it or just finding articles in English that are talking about it in further depth, then by all means, go for it. So, right. And then, all indigenous tribes have been stripped of their clean water rights. I have a link to a New York Times, I'm so sorry, I keep mixing up the newspapers in my head. The New York Times article when this happened to the Navajo, and of course the ICWA is being threatened to be overturned. I still have had no real news about that at all, which is important that we keep talking about this, though, because we can't let this fade to the background when the ICWA is incredibly integral to keeping indigenous children with their parents. And of course, since it is also Indigenous Heritage Month, the links to support indigenous people at this time have been bumped up to the top, so feel free to go look at them as you should. Wildfires that tore through Maui were devastating, especially also to the indigenous population of Maui, a historic town, was devastated and burnt to the ground as a result of these fires, but they have been steadily rebuilding, but still need assistance and such. There are links below if you would like to support the people of Maui at this time. And lastly, before we talk about what's going on in Palestine, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of discriminating against the LGBT, and there are links below to support LGBT people at this time. Alright. Now, let us talk about all that I have for news pertaining to Palestine, which is quite a bit. I actually started out the week with nothing, and then toward the end of the week, a lot happened. So, queers living in Korea wish for the survival and liberation of Palestinian queers. And they go on to state, we demand an end to Israel's massacre and occupation and stand in solidarity for the complete liberation of Palestine. So there have been ongoing protests in Korea for the emancipation. Is it the... No, not the emancipation. The liberation, rather. I'm using the incorrect terminology. My apologies. The liberation of the Palestinian people and an end to the genocide that is currently ongoing at the hands of the apartheid state of Israel. Another Israeli massacre took place in broad daylight over in Deir al-Balal in central Gaza. I couldn't get a number of how many people died, but it was a large amount of people from what I have been able to ascertain. A U.S. embassy was attacked in Lebanon. I don't know what necessarily if that has anything to do with anything. I just saw that. It could have been Israel, could have been anybody. I don't know. I just saw that in the news. Israel's appointed judge at the ICJ, the International Criminal... I always mess it up. It's the International Criminal Court and then the International Court of Justice. There we go, I got it. The International Court of Justice has resigned. The U.S. Congress passed a landmark bill aimed at sanctioning the International Criminal Court, or the ICC, that's the other one, for pursuing arrest warrants for the Israeli officials, aka they're being a bitch about the fact that the ICC are... currently trying to get a warrant to arrest officials like Netanyahu and Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, people who have been pushing and generally heading this genocide against the Palestinian people. And America's like, no, we can't fucking have that because we are the #1 ally of Israel. So, there's that. A residential tower was targeted in the Burej refugee camp in central Gaza City and was blown to bits. Maldives, the country of Maldives, have banned Israelis from entering the country. Some good news in that. Israel is committing war crimes in Lebanon with over 173 people being exposed to toxic chemicals. So they're now officially branching out, which they have done. They were bombing places in Jordan, but now they're going into Lebanon and committing war crimes over there as well. Because it's not just about Palestine, it's all surrounding areas, any place that is supporting Palestinians whatsoever. Israeli strikes have killed dozens of civilians that were sheltering in a UNRWA school, or the UNRWA, a school that was run by the UNRWA. Israel has said it was targeting Hamas operatives at the school, but Palestinian officials have said that the dead included women, children, and elderly. 40 people have been killed as a result of this, and of course they were like, oh, we're just hunting Hamas, even though we see right through that. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is slated to address Congress in July, so a month from now, even though he's practically a wanted war criminal at this point, not even practically, officially a wanted war criminal. The UN is slated to add Israel to its global list of offenders for committing violations against children. I forget what the official list is called, but it is a very important list that is basically blacklisting them and saying, like, hey, these guys have been committing war crimes against children, and that's horrible. Israel's Benny Gantz is expected to announce resignation from Netanyahu's government today, which is good because Benny Gantz is a piece of shit. So if you want to look into more people like Smotrich or Ben-Gvir or Benny Gantz or anybody, just feel free to look them up and see all the horrendous things that they have done over the years to Palestinians, not just in Gaza, but in the West Bank as well, because they are just the most right-leaning, right-wing people you will ever see in Israel. I have a couple more things, and then I promise we will move on to what we're doing today. As reported by Al Jazeera, a group of from the Israeli army, or the IOF, infiltrated Nuseirat, as I have heard as well. They've infiltrated the area disguised as humanitarian relief workers and used humanitarian aid trucks to release 4 captives onto the central Gaza Strip. 4 Israeli captives. The captives were evacuated from Gaza using the U.S. humanitarian aid pier. The death toll from this massacre that ensued in them trying to get the hostages, the Israeli hostages, is over 210 people, with over 400 injured, and they're all currently, those who are injured or dead have been sent to Al-Aqsa, which is not the only, I believe, working hospital, but the one that is it's like the one that everyone's been able to go to that's within the area. And American involvement has been alleged as well. I have no claims as to it, but there's a lot of people within Palestine who have been saying so, that have been keeping track of this kind of stuff, if that makes any sense. But look, I can't claim the validity of it unless it is absolutely stated in trusted news reports, so I'm just going to say it is a claim for now until I get news otherwise. There have been pro-Palestinian protests that have been occurring, some in LA, and there's a big one that has been involved outside of the White House today. And lastly, for the news, according to ANERA, which is a trusted charity working to support Palestine and get aid through, as well as medical aid, last night leaflets were dropped on Gaza's middle area, which is Deir al-Balal, which is where I talked about before, the bombing that occurred there, ordering 100,000 Palestinians to evacuate, once again, to know where I can't verify where exactly it is they're being ushered off to, but it's most likely to some small place that they have to congregate in, much like Rafah. So, let us keep talking about Palestine. Oh, also there is the protest, or not the protest, my apologies, the strike that is going on the 16th through the 22nd, so in like 2 weeks, or like a week and a half, 2 weeks? I can't do math, I'm sorry. The 16th through the 22nd, so that's from Sunday to Saturday. I will not be streaming the 22nd. I will be taking that day off in solidarity with the strike for Palestine, and so if you would like to learn more about that strike, look to previous strikes that have been held. So don't go out and buy anything, don't go to work, don't go to school, go to protests if you're able to. I don't know if you're able to donate to like trusted GoFundMes or charities or what have you, so look into that beforehand. Just keep spreading information about Palestine and keep talking about Palestine and the ongoing genocide that is occurring, especially in this instance where over 210 Palestinians have died because of a hostage retrieval that it was very, very, I was going to say went awry, but that is the incorrect terminology. That's what the Israelis would probably think, but it's more like they went in there, purposefully killed a bunch of people, a bunch of Palestinians, and then retrieved 4, probably injured a whole bunch more other hostages to take out of Israel in a desperate attempt to have something, quote-unquote, something good happen. So, keep talking about Palestine, keep talking about the genocide that's ongoing, and keep advocating for a ceasefire, keep advocating for the liberation of Palestine from Israel. Just keep using your voices for good, please, I'm begging of you. So, that is all that I have for now. I thank you for listening to this section, as always. I appreciate it. I'm going to put on the music. That is very, very quiet. Hang on, let me put that up a little bit louder. Oh. Okay, that's a little too loud. Goodness, I can't find a healthy in-between. Anyway, that is all for now. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'm going to switch the screen. Alright. Hello! Thank you again. I always appreciate you guys listening to the announcements whenever I do them. I know they're long, and I understand a lot of people don't want to listen to them for whatever reason, but I always find that they're important, because it's important topics that I want to discuss with you all, and make sure that you're aware of such things. So I appreciate it for you guys sticking around. But hello, hi, I hope you guys have been well. I am very tired. I've been... just... the heat, I think, is getting to me, but I've just been so tired. I've especially been tired, like, lately because I went to the doctor's on Thursday, and, I had to get, like, a checkup done. I had to also get, my last HPV shot, because I hadn't gotten it for, like, 2 years. I had the first two done about, like, 2 or so years ago, and then I just kept forgetting to get the third one, and also my doctors kept swapping, and so I just didn't have a steady doctor for a while, until eventually I have my current one. So I got my last HPV shot, and it still kind of hurts a little bit. My shoulder does, even though I got it done on Thursday, but, like, hey, what can you do? I don't know if that's supposed to happen. I'm assuming so, but it's feeling better. It's not as bad as it was when it was, like, Thursday, Friday, when it was just, like, I felt like somebody slugged me. So, there's that. I also went to the library same day as I went and got my appointment at the doctor. So, I got some new library books to read, and I went to the library explicitly trying to look for stuff to read pertaining to intersex identity and, like, learning more about intersex people, but I just could not find a damn thing. I was struggling so bad at the library. I tried so hard to try to get books that were, like, by indigenous authors, that were by black authors, and were also, like, or like books that were queer, and I found all three, but it took me a really long time to get any of them, and by the time I was out the library, it was, like, probably close to, like, 2 hours before they were closing, because they closed on, like, or no, it was, like, 4 hours before they had to close. So I was like, I just have to throw whatever I got in there and pray and hope that it's all good. But I'm still mad I couldn't find anything intersex related. But my mom was like, you should just go and, like, reserve it, and then I'll pick it up. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know. I'll see about that later. But speaking of intersex, I found quite a few things that I want to look at. I read, I found some articles, I found some websites, and I found a documentary, which I think is probably the best resource that I found so far. Hello? Hello, Doctor! Hello, welcome in. It's good to have you. I was just discussing my research that I found about intersex people that I'm so excited to share with you guys about. And I'm still looking for more. I found technically 7 things, I think. 7, 8 things. Because I've linked to some organizations down below to support intersex people. Let me actually pull them up and read what the sites were that I found. Okay, so I found... hang on, goodness. I found the Intersex Society of North America, which has been around since 1996, and it's the oldest, I believe, organization that supports intersex people. And I also found Interact, advocates for intersex youth, and so I linked those down below if you would like to look through them and look at their resources. We are intersex, but we do have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'll have to do more research into that. I didn't know. Well, I've heard of polycystic ovarian syndrome, but I need to look more into that so I know fully what that is, so that I can bring it up in discussion if need be, or, like, understand what it is when it's brought up in discussion. So anyway, so the things that I found, other than those, is I found... I'll talk about the documentary I found first, which it's called Everybody, and it's directed by Julie Cohen, and it interviews 3 intersex people in it that, and also interviewed a intersex expert who just so happened to also be intersex herself. I believe, from my memory anyway. It's a very, very good documentary. I loved it. I cried while watching it. It's very recent, too. It just came out last year. And it's also, if you have Amazon Prime, it's for free on Prime. So, like, hey, seize the opportunity. But, hey, if you don't have Prime, that's okay. You have other outlets in which you can, watch it. The people that were in it were, Alicia Roth-Weigel, River Gallo, and Sean Seifa Wall, all of which had different variations of I don't want to say intersexness, that just sounds weird, but just like intersex variations, there we go. Which I learned that there are 35 to 40 different variations, which is so cool and interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that there were so many variations of that could happen. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I found, of course I found, Sci-Fi, I believe he calls himself, and Alicia naturally. Then that led me to the documentary, but I found a book, that was written by Alicia, and then I found she wrote an article called I Came Out as Intersex in front of the Texas legislature, which she mentions in the documentary, but I also liked reading about it in her article. Just because I like to hear it from her own words, as opposed to, like, hearing it. It's different from hearing somebody tell it versus hearing reading somebody's experience of it, especially when it just happened. I also found a podcast called Gender Reveal that interviewed an intersex person named Mari Roby, who I believe goes by they, them pronouns. I haven't listened to it yet, because it's like 45 minutes, and I struggle with podcasts sometimes, but I want to listen to it to get an insight into Mari's discussions of intersex people. But yeah, that's a lot of what I found, and I'm still looking. I also found a book that I want to read called, I have it saved, Cripping Intersex by Celeste E. Orr, and I want to read that, but I don't know if any of my libraries have it, so I'll have to seek it out actively and see if I can find it. But there's some of my research that I have done, and also, just to give you a little spoiler, some of the Am I the Asshole posts have to do with intersex people, and we'll be having some discussions about that. So I put in the trigger warnings down below that there is going to be intersexism, but not from... Well, there's one person that's being intersexist that I bookmarked that we're gonna have a discussion about, but the person generally that's posting about their experience isn't being intersexist. It's just people being intersexist to them, I guess, is how I should frame it. I'm struggling with words today. But other than that, nothing it's just been uneventful. We finally have a permanent sub at the library, so there's that, so yay. She's younger than me, I found out, which is interesting. But she's nice. I liked her. We talked for a bit, but yeah, other than that, I don't have much else to talk about. I've already, whoop. What happened? What did I do? Chat, oh dear. I pressed the wrong thing. I tried to press pop out chat, but instead I pressed feedback instead. YouTube, put your buttons in the right places or there will be words. I will have words with somebody that's probably not a real person. It's probably just an automatic answer bot. Alright. Okay. Right. Today, as you probably heard me discuss already, we are going to be going through, for the first time since January, r/Am I the Asshole, which is a subreddit where people post about incidents in their lives that may make them believe that they are an asshole, that they are being an asshole, and the jury that is Redditors come together to determine whether said person who posted is the asshole or is not the asshole. So, that's what we're doing today. I thought it would be fun to go through this again because it's been a few months since we first went through it back in January. And I've been planning to do this again for a while. I just didn't know when exactly it was that I would be coming back to it, but like, we're back. We're back. We're so back. I'm gonna swap the music for here because for as much as I love the Mother soundtrack compilation that I found, I want something different whilst we're going through our, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Perfect. I just wanted something different to put on in the background, honestly. I love the Mother soundtrack to bits and pieces, but honestly, I just need some variety. Alright, so, as I did last time, I bookmarked ahead of time a whole bunch of, Am I the Asshole posts, because just going through the front page alone could probably get me some TOS violations. So me and my lovely girlfriend, June, went through on a call together like we did last time and picked out some posts. She found quite a few of them, and I found the rest. But shout out to my girlfriend, who was always on top of stuff. So this time we have, how many posts do I have for you today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 posts. Probably more than last time. Maybe less, I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, once we run out of posts, and if I feel like we should, we'll probably go through. Carefully, of course. Carefully through the front page of Am I the Asshole and pick out some posts to read. Hopefully it won't be bad, but I'm not counting on it. So, anyway. Enough of the stalling! Let's get a roll on after I figure out how to do the thing. Hang on. Alright. So this first one is... Oh! Hang on. I had to real quick hide the toolbar so you guys wouldn't see it. Because, of course, this stupid thing was adjusted for last time when we played Catastrophe Crow. And not for this time. Alright, I'll zoom in, don't worry, I'm not gonna read it small. I always zoom in so you guys can read it. Hopefully you guys can read it. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit more. There we go. I think that'll be fine. Alright. So, this one is intersex. I have, how many of them do I have? For intersex, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 at least ones that are intersex that I thought were interesting enough for us to discuss. So, alright. Let's get started, shall we? Enough beating around the bush. It's time that we judge some people for if they're assholes or not. And of course there's spoilers, but like whatever. Let's see. Alright, this one says, am I the asshole for telling my family to stop asking invasive questions about my partner being intersex or her pregnancy? My partner is 13 weeks pregnant. We announced it on Saturday, and for the last 4 days, my parents won't stop peppering us with questions that my partner says are invasive at best and inappropriate at worst. I'm posting this with my throwaway because I don't want this post about my partner on my regular account. My partner is intersex. She was born with ambiguous genitalia. Back then, the doctor decided to fix it at birth, and her parents agreed. They did surgery to have her appear female when she was with baby. Or when she was a baby. I did this last time when I first found, when my girlfriend first sent me this post. Because I see a W, and I'm just like, oh, that's shorthand for with. But I'm pretty sure that was just a mistype, and the person meant to say a baby when she was a baby. Her parents said they were, quote-unquote, relieved when she grew up into a girl with feminine features and, quote-unquote, ecstatic when she started to bend straight. My partner told me it's a common thing where an intersex child grows up feeling they are in the wrong body surgery as babies. I keep forgetting that Redditors just don't have proper grammar. I'm pretty sure this person meant they grow up feeling that they are in the wrong body because they had the surgery as babies. She doesn't call herself female, but is okay with she or they pronouns. She says if she had to choose a label, it would be non-binary. But she is fine appearing feminine and being called she or they. You didn't need to repeat that again, but cool. I'm glad to know that your partner uses she and they pronouns. good for them. I support her 1000%, and also that you're very supportive of it. That's also good. She says as long as everything is functional in terms of urination or other medical needs, a child should not have surgery until they are old enough to decide. They needed further surgery as an adult because the doctors botched it when she was a baby. My partner doesn't have personal social media, but she has one where she posts about intersection, awareness, and activism. She is open about her condition. Since our pregnancy announcement, people in my family have questioned if she is really intersex since she is pregnant, asked intimate, and detailed questions about her genitals, insisted the baby will be intersex even though her condition isn't hereditary, used offensive language such as the word hermaphrodite, insinuated she is a man, and more. It really upset her, and when I told them to knock it off because it was inappropriate, I just got told it's natural for people to have questions, and since she is open about her condition and an activist, she should expect it. She has told me all about the stigma and invasiveness the intersex community faces, and the questions were really hurtful to her. I'm inclined to believe her because she knows better than I do. I have never had to deal with this. I know the answer might seem obvious, but my family members have doubled down on the curious and activism angle. I've also been told I am less curious because I know her so well and I'm her boyfriend, but I never felt the need to ask her or any of her friends from the intersex community questions like this. Am I the asshole, or is their curiosity natural as someone who doesn't know her well? This post is archived, so no new comments are being put on it because it's like 2 years old now, but okay, so in my own personal judgment, this person is not the asshole. Like, sticking up for your partner, especially in this instance when it comes to invasive questions about being intersex, like, that's fine. Like, the parents are assholes for being invasive in the first place because, like, I don't think they fully understand that they're being intersexist and that generally they're just also being dicks. And, like, it's just being gross. Like, who just randomly up and asks a person that's intersex, like, oh, by the way, you know, just something about their genitals, which is just gross. It's similar to, like, trans people in a way, where if they don't immediately figure out that they're trans, they'll ask, like, oh, what's in your pants and stuff like that, which is invasive. But for intersex people, it's like 100 times worse. And like, also, just to let you guys know, don't call intersex people hermaphrodites. That is a very offensive term, because, like, it implies that they have both genitalia that's fully developed, when in reality that's just not how it works. There are variations. I talked about it like a little bit ago of that intersex people can be born with. I said there's about 35 to 40 from what I got from the documentary that I watched. Of course, I'm still learning. Of course, I'm not the expert. I will never be the expert when it comes to intersex people. Generally, intersex people are more educated about being intersex than me, who is perisexed. But in general, from what I have learned, this kind of shit is common, sadly, but it is still unacceptable anyway, and I'm happy that this person was standing up for their partner and telling their parents, like, hey, no, don't say that kind of shit to them. That's inappropriate. I don't care if they're intersex and open to talking about being intersex. That still doesn't excuse the fact that that's disgusting to ask them, and also denying them their being intersex. So it's just bleh. But also the talk about the surgeries as well. One thing I also did learn from the documentary is that 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, I have seen anyway, I don't know if there's exceptions to this, and please do tell me if there is, doctors will push for surgeries for intersex people when the intersex person is a minor. Like, from the time they're about, I want to say like 5 to 16, 17, they're just avidly getting pushed for surgeries. Humans cannot be hermaphrodites, which is why it's also offensive. Exactly. That is also why it is offensive. Excuse me, goodness, I'm stuttering. But yeah, that's just not how that works. That's just a myth that's been perpetuated for a very, very long time. So, yes, thank you for also bringing that up. Right, where was I? But, oh yeah, the surgeries have been pushed onto minors for such a long time, and mostly it's being pushed to the parents of the intersex minor to say, hey, we think that they need a surgery. And oftentimes they'll also say things like, especially if, say, an intersex person has internal testes, they'll say, oh, they could end up cancerous at some point and we need to do an operation to take them out. Which doesn't give the child enough time to say, hey, I actually want to keep them at all, because the parents a lot of the time are like, oh, they're going to be cancerous and I want them out. And so generally those surgeries get pushed a lot and the child gets no say in it. But I've seen, thankfully, a lot of legislatures being pushed to prevent these kinds of surgeries from being pushed so vehemently. Not the asshole. It's natural if you're curious, but they're still ignoring clear boundaries and being extremely rude. Exactly. Like, not every single intersex person is the same either. So, like, all the different variations will end up making them different. So no one intersex person can be the monolith for the intersex community. It's much like no one trans person can be a monolith for the trans community. They're all different, and they're advocating for the same things, but that does not necessarily mean that they are a monolith for their community, because they're just people at the end of the day. And I think that's the one thing that we just need to keep saying, is that intersex people are people, and they're not something we gawk at. Right? So anyway, that person's not the asshole. I'm gonna swap to the next post. Sorry, I spent a lot of time on that one. I just needed to say something. Okay. This one confused me and my girlfriend. We both were like, what? About this one? Because of what it is. That it, was being discussed. Hang on, I gotta grab my water. Also, person in the chat that asked me about EDP 445, I don't want to talk about that right now, thank you. That's not the point of what we're doing right now. Thank you. Also, guys, don't be weirdos in the chat today. Lovely moderator Leah's not here. It's just my girlfriend and me. So, be good in the chat or you will get bonked. Please, thank you. I don't want a repeat of what happened last time when I did one of these where someone got banned because they dismissed the fact that I was talking about racism. Right, okay, let's talk about this one because this one baffled me. So this person goes, am I the asshole for telling my sister she shouldn't raise her intersex child with a binary gender? And this person was called an asshole and I was confused why. So here's what happened. Person claims that this is a throwaway account. I'm super close with my sister M. When she found out she was pregnant, she invited me and my mom and her husband Jay, of course, to the ultrasound. I was obviously extremely excited, but when we were there, the doctor pulled M and Jay aside to speak privately. Later, M told me that the doctor had noted atypical sex characteristics and that there was a good possibility of the baby being intersex. She also told me that the doctor could use tests to see which gender the baby was more likely to identify with as they got older, and she was planning to raise the baby as that gender and was maybe even considering surgery. However, because it's still pretty early on, they weren't 100% sure and needed more tests. I was supportive, and I told her in the end it was her prerogative, but she should also absolutely not do that. I'm not intersex, but I'm a very active member of the LGBTQIA community, bi if anyone's curious, and I've met one or two individuals who very strongly identify as intersex and are extremely glad they did not have surgery when they were younger. So this is what I mean when I said like 99% of the time or 9 out of 10 times, because there are people who are intersex that don't get the surgeries when they're younger, but I think it was more common like back in the, like way back, probably like 2000s or so, like 1950s to like 2000s, 2010s. The 2020s are where I'm seeing a shift, at least from my perspective. I could be wrong on that. I told M she should not ever do surgery unless her grown kid wants it, and raise her child in a way that allows them to decide the binary gender they wish to identify with, if any. excuse me, M got super angry and basically stormed out of the room. I guess M must have told J because after he called me and yelled at me, telling me I wasn't a doctor or a therapist, and anyway, it wasn't any of my business. I'm super hurt because I was just trying to be helpful and do what's best for the baby, but M and J seem convinced that I'm the asshole, so am I the asshole? So, do you guys see why I got confused by the fact that this was labeled by the active community, this person is an asshole? Because, like, no, the person is obviously not an asshole, and is obviously advocating for, you know, the child to make the decision, because it shouldn't be up to doctors or the parents unless something bad is going, like, unless there is something cancerous growing or there are health complications that arise. The child should be able to choose if they want the surgery or not later on down the line, when they feel like it's appropriate, if they want to or if they don't want to. Because surgeries for intersex people have been pushed for ages, and so many intersex people that are adults now often talk about the fact that their parents had them get the surgeries, mostly from like fear-mongering, or generally just didn't want a child that was intersex because it was like weird or unknown, and they didn't know if they were going to be able to raise an intersex child or not, because intersex people generally are forced to choose a binary sex from the moment that they come into the world. They don't really have much of that choice. Thankfully that's changing, but still, it's still happening regardless. It's not like this is gonna go away. It's still happening unless something major happens in legislature to completely block it everywhere for intersex people. So the fact that this person is sticking up for the child and the mother is angry at that says a lot. It's like, oh, well, you're not a doctor. It was like, you got common sense a little bit though, don't you? It's like, OP has common sense. You'd be like, yeah, no, that should be up to the kid. That shouldn't be up to you. Honestly. So, like, I was so confused. So then I went to the comments to see what it was that people were saying, and I'm just seeing a slew of people saying that this person's the asshole. So let's read a few, shall we? And see how dumb people are. Only plants and mostly sea creatures, lizards, amphibians, and vertebrates are considered hermaphrodites. Males and most other animals cannot be. Exactly. There's no binary sex options. Generally, like, hermaphrodites don't exist unless it's those few examples, but like, intersex animals, intersex people exist. So there's no male-female, it's male, like, there's multiple variations. So, like, of course, I have in the past talked about, at least I don't know if I've talked about it publicly or privately, but I still want to address it anyway, about, I've said you can have multiple genders, but, you know, there's always, like, there's two sexes, there's male and there's female, but, of course, that's intersexist, because then that excludes excludes intersex people's existence, and so I don't want to keep perpetuating that, and so I'm adjusting my language accordingly, and I suggest that you guys do that too. So, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about these comments, because they're baffling, all of them, every single one of them that I read. Anyway, let's read this one from the deleted user that says, "You're the asshole. It wasn't the time or place to offer opinions. They just found out devastating health news about their unborn child. Offering unsolicited opinions on what choices they should make was really unhelpful in the moment. Give them a chance to breathe and figure out things out, and then, if they ask, give your opinion with solid facts behind it." Yes, this is Reddit. Sex is bimodal, not binary. Right. But also, like, I just hate this fucking wording. Devastating health news. Oh my god, it's devastating that my child's gonna be born intersex. Good fucking lord. That's so gross. Good god. And also, unsolicited opinion. Literally, this person brought up the fact that they talked with they're fucking people that they know. Like, they knew intersex people. Also, the person's like, oh, come back with facts. And it's like, oh yeah, well, okay. That person just fucking angry. Yes, it is, am I the asshole subreddit specifically, yes. This user, Vodka7Tall, says, you're the asshole. 1 or 2 people who are intersex does not make you an expert on the subject. You should have kept your opinions to yourself. Which, like, that's fair to say that knowing 1 or 2 intersex people doesn't make you an expert. That's a fair opinion to say. Nobody can really truly be an expert on something unless they've experienced it firsthand. So, like, intersex people are more, like I said before, intersex people are going to probably most absolutely be the ones that know more about being intersex than someone who's perisex. So, that's a fair assessment, but also, like, literally all this person said was, I don't think you should make the decision for the child. You should let the child make the decision for themselves if they want the surgery or not. That's the most tame thing I think you could say, and it's just literally positing, like, hey, maybe you should let the kid have the choice. Not an opinion, that's literally just, like, a fact. Good God. Another deleted user says, you're the asshole, not your kid. Poor timing. Why does it matter to you? As if to try to, like, one-up the post or be like, oh yeah, why does this matter to you? You're not intersex, so why does this matter to you? And it's like, I would think it would matter. A little bit. Just like a smidge. It's called caring. Caring? You ever hear about that? Good lord. This person, however, nerdy little asshole, is the only one that I saw that said, not the asshole. You heard people speak from experience and understood them. Your sister and her husband are going through a tough time and only want what's best for their child, and by the sounds of it, they're not sure of what that is yet. So slightly leaning towards not the asshole because they should not have blown up at you like that, but it is understandable given their position. Like, they said not the asshole, but also it's like, oh, it's understandable given their position that they might be upset, even though, like, they shouldn't be upset that their child's born intersex. I don't know, the people of Reddit are just weird about shit sometimes. This one, however, okay, this one, oh my god, this person made me so mad. This person, Nixon469, says, you're the asshole. You're allowed to have an opinion, and you can tell your sister how you feel, but the way you've worded the interaction paints you as a complete arse. Sounds like you were almost yelling at her about what she should do with her child. It really is none of your business. I would recommend you find a much more appropriate and subtle way to approach the issue. If you keep up with the severity and the demanding attitude, you're going to do a lot of damage to your relationship permanently. Best of luck at these things, but in this specific case, you've acted like a complete arse, no matter how righteous you might feel being on your gender soapbox. Good fucking God. How dare this person care about a minority child? How dare this person care about a child being born intersex? How dare they? And then this person comes back and puts, like, in the rest of their comment here, just, everyone's the asshole. In the same sentence, you said it was her prerogative, and then demanded her not to do it. You said it was her prerogative, and then demanded she not do it. If that's actually how you worded it, you're not going to get much through to her. You sound like you're very... Oh my god. You sound like you are very thinly veiled vitriolic about this subject and have completely blindsided your sister. I think you've handled a very tricky and touchy subject in a shockingly blunt and rude way. Consider this a learning experience when it comes to expectations of body autonomy. Then they don't just dissolve when it comes to hot topic gender issues. You completely violated your sister's body autonomy. Think on that before you decide to pick this as a hill to die on. This fucking comment, like, killed me, because it's just so fucking angering with all the loaded language that they put in it. Also, hi, welcome in, I'm getting mad at a person being intersexist. Sorry. So this person, all the fucking, oh my god, the loaded language. you're allowed to tell, like, you complete you as a, why are we on Reddit? Because I'm going through r/amitheasshole and I'm talking about people being dickheads so that we can have a learning experience. I know it sucks we're on Reddit, but like, listen. r/amitheasshole's fun to go through, to have discussions about important topics a lot of the time, and also just to see how dumb people are being. In this instance, just to catch you up, the person that posted this, everyone thinks is an asshole, but they're really not, because they're just talking about saying, like, oh, you should let the kid have a decision on whether they want a surgery or not because the child's being born intersex. And then everyone's like, oh, you're a fucking asshole because you're pushing your opinions on your sister. Which is like, what the... This person in particular is being saying things like, you were almost yelling. You need to find a more appropriate and subtle way to approach the issue. If you keep this up, the severity and the demanding attitude, you're going to cause a lot of damage. Like, it's such loaded language to try to get OP to be, like, to kneel on the issue, to, like, keel over to, oh, I'm in the wrong here, when really they're not. And this person's not helping either, just because they think that this person's on a gender soapbox, when in reality, they did the tamest thing ever and said, hey, I think you should let your kid have some choice in whether they want a surgery or not. Because, like, I don't think people realize this, but getting a surgery when you're really young can impact you a lot. Like, especially one as great as the types of surgeries that intersex people go through to either remove, like, say, internal testes, or to do any sort of corrective surgery to put them in a binary gender. That is intense to go through, and a lot of parents don't realize that, and so their kids probably have a lot of trauma because of it. Especially when they didn't have a choice in the matter, and their parents made that decision for them because they're their legal guardian and they're not the age of 18 yet, so they're like, oh, we have to do all the decision making, and thus we think our child should get the surgeries. It's dumb. Hello, welcome. Alright, I'm done with this post. This one makes me angry. We're gonna get onto a different one that won't make me nearly as angry, but it will still make me angry. Also, the reason I hide my screen while I'm swapping is because I don't want you guys to see my tabs and stuff. I'm just trying to get it all prepared. Excuse me. There's one more intersex one after this one. I'm going through all the intersex ones because I just want to point out all the different scenarios that there are and just have discussions about them so we have a rounded discussion, if that makes sense. And then we'll get on to a whole bunch of other nonsense that I found. Well, me and my girlfriend found. It's not all me, my girlfriend also helped find some. So let's talk about this one. This is one that my girlfriend found. This one is titled, Am I the Asshole for Wearing Skirts? To which the masses said this one is not an asshole. Alright, OP goes on to write, I don't know if that's exactly relevant, but I'm an intersex dude, male 23. I live and identify as male and keep the intersex part of my identity rather private. My partner, non-binary 22, and I were invited to a party of my partners a few weeks ago. I lately switched up my my clothing style from goth to more colorful weird stuff, a bit inspired by Anthony World on Instagram at times. I don't know who this person is. If any of you in chat know who that is, feel free to enlighten me. Or in the comments of this VOD. I don't care. I don't know who this is. But I'm going to assume they're like a fashion influencer of sorts. And started experimenting with wearing skirts. It's a step up in terms of being gender non-conforming, but since our friend group is extremely queer, I figured it would be alright. However, one person at the party was actually offended about the fact that I, as a cis man, would dress like that. Shirt, short skirt, skinny jeans, heels. We'll talk about that in a second. Because my appearance to them came as a mockery of trans women. I'm quite androgynous, but I have a beard, broad shoulders, and am, of course, a man. They told me that a lot of people, including themselves, really have to fight for being perceived as their actual gender, and that the people that people like me, who are basically just playing dress up, make it harder for them to be taken seriously. I really don't want to harm a community as vulnerable as the trans community, especially since I'm dating a non-binary trans person. However, I also want to express myself, so am I the asshole? To which, like, immediately it's like, no. You're not the asshole. Especially because this person just immediately made an assumption that, like, you're making a mockery of trans women. When, like, they're making an assumption immediately of the person and immediately assuming their identity. Because, like, hey, this person might not be cis. This person might be non-binary. This person might be, as OP states, intersex. He's intersex. So you're just making an assumption immediately and enforcing a gender onto this person, even though your values should be, like, not doing that. You should, like, I understand where the person is coming from, because, like, there are a lot of people out there that generally like to mock trans women especially, but I don't know, it was just a little bit, just like, I don't know. What am I getting? Oh, my lovely girlfriend has sent me the Instagram for Anthony World. I'll have to check that out off stream because I don't feel, I mean, I know they're a public person, but I'm just gonna I'll look at it later, but thank you. But in any case, let's see what the comments had to say. I didn't see what the comments had to say for the very first one. I should have, but, like, I think it was explanatory enough what we talked about. So let's see what the Redditors had to say for this one. Stubborn Mushroom says, not the asshole. You're just wearing clothes. Clothes don't have a gender. Does your friend think trans women don't wear pants or shouldn't wear pants because that's too masculine? It's a ridiculous argument. Wear what makes you comfortable. Absolutely. Like, it's reinforcing a gender binary. In reality, there's none. There should be none. And like I said, I understand where the person is coming from, but at the same time, they're going against everything that they're striving for by doing what they did. So, it's a little contradictory, honestly. Vixen 7-9 put, those people are trying so hard to be progressive that they're telling you to stick to the traditional gender roles of clothing and not to dress a certain way. Can't they see the problem with their stance? Not the asshole. And then I think a lot of people are just saying, like, you're not the asshole and you should just be able to wear what you want to wear. Okay, this person here, I haven't seen this comment. I want to read what this person says. Black Dog Wrangler says, what? Gatekeepers like that are extremely irritating. I'm a cis hetero female and I've always dressed more masculine, waistcoats, suits, and ties, etc. And I've had this from a friend of a friend who was, in her words, just protecting the space of butch lesbians. No one gets to tell me how to eye dress, though genuine advice is always welcome. Yeah. Like, wear what you want to wear. Clothes don't have a gender, as that one person said. Clothes don't have a gender. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I understand it, but also, speaking for trans women, as, I don't know if that person said they were a trans woman or not, but if they are someone who's speaking for, like, over trans women, that also is inherently problematic, because, like, just let trans women vocalize if they have an issue with something, as opposed to, like, speaking over them. Because that's what that person was doing. If they aren't a trans woman, they're like, you're speaking over trans women. It's another thing if they are a trans woman. But also, even then, that's an individual issue. Like, it's like an individual basis, I guess. But even still, I understand wanting to protect trans women. Because trans women, especially, like, black trans women, are under scrutiny and get killed a lot just for existing. But at the same time, it's like, we shouldn't make immediate assumptions. Unless someone's being a bigot outright, we shouldn't make assumptions. Especially for this person. This person also is intersex, so, like, I don't know. We just gotta be, like, chill out. It's alright. Anyway, this one's the last one that I have for discussing intersex, and then we'll talk about all the other ones. But this one, I found this one on accident, and it baffled me so much so that I didn't look at the comments. I just bookmarked this post, and I want to talk about it because This is a big do not do this, by the way. This is a huge do not do this if you are not intersex. So this user writes, am I the asshole for telling people I'm intersex even if I'm not? To which the masses have said this person is indeed an asshole. So let's see what this person put. Hello Reddit, I'm 17 and I identify as non-binary. Yes, I know this is kind of a controversial topic, but just keep in mind I don't identify as male nor female. I don't bring it up normally only when asked. I guess I can say I'm androgynous since a lot of people question my gender. I'll simply say I'm non-binary. Some people are satisfied with this answer, however some of them aren't. They ask very weird questions like what's inside your pants or something like that. I really don't feel comfortable answering this, so I've started telling people that I'm intersex. People that are naturally born ambiguously, so they don't have a defined gender. We'll talk about that in a second. They usually accept this, some of them ask for details, and I'll make something up in that moment. However, my girlfriend and some of my friends think that's not really nice since I'm lying to people, and if they find out the truth, they can get really mad. I do think lying about this is kind of problematic if it's someone you intend engaging on in a relationship with. But like I said, I have a girlfriend and I'm monogamatic, so there's no chance of that happening. So I'm here to hear this sub's judgment. Am I the asshole for telling people I'm intersex? Would I be the asshole if I continued doing that? Which, the obvious answer for this one, yes, also is yes. You are the asshole. Do not do this, by the way. If people are being transphobic to you, do not deflect by saying you are intersex to get them off your back, quote unquote. Because that's intersexist as well, and just dumb. Because you're giving more scrutiny to intersex people by then incorrectly, most likely, stating things about intersex people that you aren't aware about, and also just vehemently lying about your status as a perisex person by saying you're intersex so that people will leave you alone. Just, if people keep asking you these things, you don't have to give them an answer and just say, I don't want to engage with that, that's inappropriate. Just like, this person was young, this was like 4 years ago, so at this point the person would be, what, 21? Right, did I do the math right? Let me do the math again, hang on. 21, yeah. So, hopefully they've grown out of doing that, because that's inappropriate, and it also adds further stigma to intersex people, from what I understand in any case. I want to state this again, I am not a mouthpiece for the intersex community. Intersex people can speak up for themselves. I am just stating what I understand, have heard other intersex people say, and so, in any case, just like, don't think that I'm speaking for intersex people. I'm just repeating back what intersex people have discussed. And so let's also go to the comments and see what other people have had to say. Endless Typist put, hey, fellow non-binary person here as well. Absolutely you're the asshole. You're not intersex. Those are real people who face real issues, and you don't get to claim that just because it's somehow easier for you than our non-binary problems. If people ask you what's in your pants, tell them that question is really fucking rude and you won't answer it. Don't just make shit up. Absolutely and utterly fair. Completely and utterly. Like, also, like, this fucking line here that says people that are naturally born ambiguously, that's just, like, that's not it. I actually have a proper way to define intersex people that I got from the documentary that I told you guys about at the beginning of stream. That is a definition that was given by a real professional who is involved in intersex studies. The person who said it in the doc stated, quote, that intersex people are quote, any variation in a person's sex traits with which they're either born or they develop naturally during puberty. There you go. That doesn't mean ambiguousness, it just literally means a variation in sex traits. I get this person might be uneducated. I'm not trying to be as harsh with this person, but it's still like you gotta be harsh with them because of the actions that they're taking. And they should hopefully educate themselves further from this and not keep doing that, because if they keep doing that, that's disgusting. Kenaved put, you're the asshole. You don't get to just take on other people's shit when it's convenient. It's weird and disrespectful toward actual intersex people. I fully agree with that. Pink wine enthusiast put, very soft, you're the asshole. Just because you're lying. It's incredibly inappropriate for someone to ask about your genitals if you aren't sleeping with them. Instead of lying, you should set clear boundaries that it isn't their damn business, and that's the end of the discussion. Which, yes. I wouldn't say very soft, I'd still say you're the asshole. Especially because we don't know how long this person has been doing it for at that point that they're posting. They could have been doing it for months, they could have been doing it for a year, 2 years, who knows? They just put for a while now, and that could mean anything. So, in any case, a lot of people are just putting like, you're the asshole, and you need to not do that. But yes, that is a full, you are the asshole from me. I fully agree. So, don't do this. If people ask you the question, what's in your pants, don't lie and say you're intersex to get out of the conversation. Just tell them to back off. It's none of your business. Why are you so obsessed with my genitals? That's inappropriate. Any variations of that to get them to back off, because that is inappropriate and that is none of their business. Okay. So those are all the ones that I have pertaining to intersex people. This one is just interesting, and also the label they put on it is very weird. I don't know why they put this specific label on it. So this post is called, "Am I the asshole for telling my husband he's too broke to be so sexist?" To which the masses determined that this person's not an asshole, but also put it in poo mode, and I don't know what that means. What does that even mean, poo mode? I don't know this subreddit real well. I know the labels of not the asshole, asshole, everyone sucks here. In like variations of abbreviated terms, but I don't know what poo mode means. Did the discussion get nasty? I don't know, but we'll see. Let's divulge this one, shall we? Because it's a ride. So this person goes on to say that they're writing from a throwaway account. So, my husband comes from a traditional family. Mom's a stay-at-home mom. Father is sole provider, or was the sole provider. I come from the opposite. My mother pretty much forbade me from ever being financially dependent on a man and drilled that into me early on. This person's probably gonna have not a lot of good grammar, so I'm trying to fix it as I go along. I'm sorry. My husband worked hard to unlearn the values he saw replicated at home. He, often more than, pulled his weight at home, was an engaged and present father, and a genuine partner. The one thing that grinds my gears is how much weight he puts on the opinions of his family. I get that we all want our parents to be proud of us, but this is too much. My in-laws are staying with us for 2 weeks. Our usual MO is I prep breakfast, we all eat lunch at work/school, and my husband makes dinner. We have a cleaner. Don't know why you need to flex that, but okay. But she's on holiday, so in the meantime, we're DIYing the cleaning where it's down to everyone to keep their space clean. In common spaces, we all clean. This is, I think we all inhabit. Keep it clean. Hello, didn't see. Hello, welcome, Dominic. We are reading Am I the Asshole posts. This is how we've always done it, and it works. My in-laws hate that I'm one of those modern women. They hate that I work, they hate that I don't find my purpose in being a wife and a mother, and they hate that my husband pulls his weight at home. We spoke pretty frankly early on, where I established my boundaries and told them I won't be chastised about how I live my life in my home. When I am a guest in their home, I accommodate their ways and play the daughter-in-law they wish I was. They have, for the most part, respected this. I got home yesterday after work tired and starving. I typically get home 18:15 to 30. This is like a 24-hour clock, by the way. If you guys are like, what are these random numbers? It's 24-hour clock. I don't know the equivalents. My girlfriend. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. If you want to, no pressure. I always say this. Do not feel pressured to have to subscribe if you don't want to. I get it. However, there is a sub goal that I have. If we get to like 225, 250 subscribers on this channel, I will make a public Discord chat channel server. I can't talk. God help me. That you guys can hang out in and stuff. But that's if we hit like that, around that number or so. I'm not anticipating it, which is why I set it so high. But hey, if you guys want to help us get there and get a server for you guys to hang out in, be my guest, but only if you want to. Anyway, let's keep reading. So yeah, 24-hour clock, that's what those numbers are. And we eat at 1900. I don't know what the equivalents are because I don't know 24-hour clocks very well. I said quick hellos and ran up for a pre-dinner shower. When I came down, I went to the kitchen to help set up for dinner and found nothing ready. I asked my husband about it, but he wouldn't look at me, and his mother answered that he hadn't cooked anything. She told me I needed to do my duty as a wife and cook for my family. My coward of a husband still wasn't looking at me. I just walked away and ordered takeaway. This is what keyed me in initially, that this person's probably British. I know I said there's things like the 24-hour clock, or the person saying that they had, what was it, that their cleaner went on holiday or whatever. But, like, I've heard that said in, like, America or even Canada. But, like, I don't know. I just didn't get keyed in right away until the person said takeaway. Minus 12? I can't do the math. Is it 12 or is it like 12 a.m. or 12 p.m.? I don't know. My brain, I can't do clock math. I was never good at clocks. Well, I was good at reading clocks, but like I don't know 24-hour clocks. I'm just dumb. Hello, yup, welcome in. We are doing Am I the Asshole posts. I'm in the middle of reading this one. Let me finish it up so we can talk about and just like unpack this whole thing. I dished up for me and my kids, and we sat at the table to eat. My husband and his parents served themselves and joined us. My mother-in-law was still going on about what was wrong with me and why I was a failure. I asked my husband if he had anything to say. He said his mother had a point, and it wouldn't hurt if I acted more like a proper woman and took better care of my home and children. He said tradition was tradition for a reason, and it was kind of insulting that I thought I was too good for how he was raised. This is where I might be the asshole. I told him tradition won't allow a man on 35K to support a family of 5, and he was too broke to be so sexist. He looked hurt, and I saw tears welling in his eyes. He excused himself from the table. I regret saying this in front of our children, but him saying that to me after I'm busting my ass to clean up his mess on top of having to deal with his parents was too much for me. Am I the asshole? Yeah, PM. It's afternoon. Oh, okay. What? Hello? Oh goodness, everyone's coming in now. Just as I finished up this post. Oh, okay, and I scrolled down and it says this is now a proctologist's only orifice. When a post is in poo mode, only users with enough subreddit comment karma are able to comment. Okay, sure. That's what that means. Interesting. Reddit's so fucking weird. Anyway. This woman is not the asshole. Why? Because the in-laws are the assholes to keep perpetuating freaking stupid, dumb gender norms. To be like, the woman must be the homemaker and the husband should be the breadwinner and you should stay at home with your children and do the cleaning and the cooking and you should do the hang out with your husband and blah, 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 all the stupid stuff. And the husband playing into that and not growing a spine and sticking up to his parents is dumb. He doesn't have a spine, he just wants to bend to his parents because he's probably a mama's boy, let's be honest. I'm doing my tutoring math homework and it's boring. Oh man, I'm sorry. Math can be fun though if you make it fun, but and that can be hard. But in any case, this whole post is a mess. Like, I don't know. This whole post is a mess, but mostly just because the husband just sucks, and his parents suck too, and the wife, God bless her. I'm not gonna say she should divorce. I just think that he should, like, they should just have a discussion about his parents and do better about the situation. So, also thank you for the hearts. I saw that. Alright, let's look and see what the comments have to say. Okay, why comment Queasy put, sucks the kids were there for it, but he deserved worse. Not the asshole. Should have ordered only enough food for you and the kids. Education's boring, but very important. It is. It's basic algebra. Oh, that's not bad. I say as I was a whiz at algebra. Forget gender norms. Do the real smart move and let the Roomba be the breadwinner. Or you can teamwork it and clean together. Have a little fun activity for you both to do. No, you're not dumb. It might just be how it's worded. That could be the issue. That was the issue for me growing up with math, is how they, like, worded the questions and shit, and that just made me feel stupid, but it was really just how they worded it, but otherwise I could do it fine. I just need you to do it my way. Oh my god, this person fucking wrote a fucking dissertation. What did this person have to say? Owls _ cardinals wrote, not the asshole. Your husband was indeed a coward. He has been a willing participant in your marriage all along and has gamely contributed to the agreement you have that works for you both. It was incredibly hurtful of him to not uphold his own decisions nor defend his wonderful partner of a wife to his parents. When the shit hit the fan, he failed to hold up, and that's a really sad realization for you. What you said might have been hurtful and cutting, but it was the truth. It only came out because he said, also in front of your children, that you weren't a proper woman and didn't take adequate care of your home and children. What is going on in the chat? Algebra, yeah. They change math every 3 years. They do, honestly. Bro. Ugh, math sometimes. I don't know why they keep changing shit. Anyway, focus. Frankly, he needed to hear it. How can he think you should be more or better with all that you're already doing? Does he think it's a really a valid option for you to just drop your working career to be a homemaker? And how does he think that's gonna go for your family? It's absurdly impractical and makes him look like an imbecile. An imbecile to think it has merit. Good grief, I haven't seen someone pull out imbecile in a while, my god. Hate to fall into old Reddit tropes, but it's gotta be therapy or divorce time. No, I don't think they should go down the divorce route. I think they should fix it, but unless the marriage is unfixable, then they can divorce. But otherwise, I'm not telling her to jump on the divorce train just yet, because that's a little too much. Definitely do the therapy route, because it sounds like he's like 85% bought in and working to be a better person, but that 15% reared its head when his parents came around, which might mean you need some firmer boundaries against his parents. It's sickening that they abused their influence on him and used their time with him alone to turn him against you. If it were me, they would not be welcome in my home ever again, and I'd be seriously considering limiting their access to the grandkids as well, because they are poisonous against you. Yeah, honestly, it's gross to keep having that around, especially in our current landscape where women should be allowed to have whatever jobs that they want. Just people should be able to work whatever jobs they want. Anyway, we're gonna move on to this next one. All these ones are so wonky. There's some interesting ones coming up that I found, and hopefully we'll find some interesting ones when we browse the front page later if we get to that point. Alright, what do we got with this one? This one states, am I the asshole for reminding my friend that she married for intelligence? And look where it got her. Oh, this one. My girlfriend and I saw this title for this one and we were like, what? We were like, we have to know what this is about. And we read it and we were like, oh, yes, we need to have a discussion with this one. Alright, so this person writes, I, 35F, met my husband Vince, 36M, after he saved me from drowning at a pool party when I was 18. I took him out for lunch in the following week, and to thank him for saving me. And we soon fell in love and began dating. At the time, Vince worked a blue-collar job while I was studying in university. We ended up getting married, and Vince supported me throughout my entire education up until I got my PhD. Vince has always told me that he wanted to study in university but had learning disabilities that made it difficult for him to study in a classroom. At times, he was embarrassed by the fact that he had to work twice as hard compared to the people around him, but I always found that to be admirable about him. When I finished my studies and got a well-paying job, I convinced Vince to give his dream of studying another go. Last year, he was finally accepted into a nursing program at our local university. He is working hard to achieve his dream, and I'm incredibly proud of him. Last week, my friend Alba, 36F, came to visit with her son so our children could play together. Alba was my roommate during my first year in university. She began dating her husband, Leo, around the same time I started dating Vince. Leo was an obnoxious law student who later on became an even more obnoxious attorney. We all know he was a know-it-all who prided himself on his intelligence, which for some reason attracted Alba. At the time, Alba would sometimes tease me that I could do better than Vince and would offer to set me up with one of Leo's law school buddies, but I would always refuse, and she eventually dropped the subject. Alba and Leo are currently going through a nasty divorce that stems from him cheating on her. Quite frankly, he is dragging her through the mud and is using connections to try and leave her as penniless as possible. As we were chatting and catching up, Alba began to express concern over the fact that my eldest son, 7M, was recently diagnosed with dyslexia. Alba began telling me how she is worried that my son will be academically challenged like his father and what that could entail for his future. Before I could respond, she told me how I should have married someone smart while I had the chance so I would have kids like hers. Alba's son is an incredibly bright boy and a straight A student. I told Alba her advice was unnecessary and reminded her where marrying for intelligence got her. I then proceeded to tell her that I would rather have my son grow up to be an honest, hardworking person like his father than an academically gifted jerk who wasn't smart enough to know sleeping with his secretary could have consequences on his marriage like her husband. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to laugh in the middle of me saying this because the fucking Donkey Kong country music started playing during this. And it's weirdly fitting. I don't know why. Fuck. Anyway, we'll look at the updates in a second. Let me just finish this post. Alba was deeply hurt by what I've said and stormed out with her son. Some mutual friends are now chiming in and telling me that I was too harsh on Alba for using her failing marriage to prove my point and should apologize. So, God, the line where she just says, like, I would rather have my son grow up to be a honest, hardworking person like his father than an academically gifted jerk who wasn't smart enough to know sleeping with his secretary would have consequences on his marriage like her husband. It gets me, because, like, goddamn, alright. Like, using her marriage, like, okay. Like, using her failing marriage in that way is a bit mean. But at the same time, it kind of gets negated because this woman was being incredibly ableist, not just to her son, but to her husband. Like, it's already apparent that her husband was, the OP's husband, rather, was insecure about the fact that he has a learning disability. That he was worried he was not going to be able to keep up with a lot of those who he might share classes with and like struggles in a classroom setting. And that's completely fair. There are a lot of people who have learning disabilities who are neurodivergent in some way who struggle in classroom settings and don't typically get the support that they need to be able to help them thrive in these settings. And I just want to say, though, I'm proud of her husband. I'm proud of Vince for being able to get accepted into a nursing program. I hope that he does well. Nursing programs, I know, are notoriously hard. My sister is a nurse's assistant, and she still had to go through a lot of nursing school to be able to get to that point. So, like, I know for a fact that it is indeed a very hard, rigorous program. But I wish him all the best regardless, and I hope that he is doing well. This is only posted like 4 days ago. But I hope he does well. Regardless. And like, that's incredible for him to go out and do this. despite all that he's expressed in terms of his insecurities. And this woman, this fucking woman, Alba, being ableist toward the child for being dyslexic, and even as a result also being ableist to the husband, Vince, for having a learning disability in the first place, is just stupid. Don't dox your sister's occupation. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not gonna tell you guys where she works. Probably because I also don't know where she works. Like, it's alright. It's okay. That's as specific as I'm gonna be with that, and if you guys just don't track down any personal information about me, first and foremost, I think I've said that before, I want to remain as private as I possibly can on the internet, which is why I'm not using my real name. I'm not saying which state that I'm from. I'm not specifying most things just because I want to keep my privacy, but stating something like my sister's occupation, as vague as it is, because she has a more specific job label than what I've described, I think it will be fine, but just don't track down anybody. Don't do that. Don't dox me. Don't dox my sister. That's inappropriate to do. You guys in chat are good, I know about that, but just, I'm keeping my eye on you guys. Be normal, or else. But in any case, fuck this woman. Of course, it's upsetting also that her husband's being a shit, like Alba's husband's being, or ex-husband, I guess I should say, is being a shit, and like, they're going through a really bad divorce, and he's trying to drag it out, and use his connections to leave her penniless. That's awful. But also, that doesn't excuse you being ableist to people. That's dumb as hell. Alright, anyway, let's read the updates then, and then we'll look at some of the comments. So, the OP goes on to write, small update. First of all, I want to thank you all for your replies. Smile. I wanted to address a couple things. Many of you asked why Alba and I remain friends, despite her previous remarks. Alba and I grew apart during our third year in university. We only remain friends by association since we have a lot of shared mutual friends. My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You spelled Albuquerque wrong. Anyway, we became close again after our sons started playing basketball together at the local community center and became friends. I figured that becoming a mother made her more mature, and she didn't give me any reason to suspect otherwise. I decided to send her a message saying that the way she spoke about my husband and my son was unacceptable, and for she's no longer welcome in my home. However, I don't want our sons to lose their friendship, and therefore I'm willing to remain civil around the kids and still organize playdates. She didn't reply to me just yet, but I truly hope she loves her son enough to put her ego aside rather, and remain civil for the sake of our kids. I've yet to notify Vince about this entire situation since he is vigorously studying for an important quiz that's coming up next week, and I know that if he heard about what Alba said about him and our boy, it would make him upset, and he won't be able to focus on studying properly. Rather, I can't read. Albacore. Unless something crazy happens in the meantime, I'll probably update him next week after he's done with the quiz. Alright, so let's see what the comments had to say. What did the masses have to say to our friend here? Corgi Huntress said, okay, can I just say that intelligence doesn't have anything to do with dyslexia? That incredibly intelligent people can have it, and they can also have other learning disabilities or be kinetic learners, because for her to say that your husband isn't intelligent is just a level of assholery that is completely unacceptable. Having an education versus no education is also not a measure of intelligence. Trust me, I have a PhD too. I also know a lot of brilliant people without college diplomas. Now that my rant is over, not the asshole. And while certainly you should be concerned with your child, if your child has a learning disability and you should pursue support for him, that doesn't make him stupid or otherwise lacking. Exactly. To which Agog Kiwi, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to say this person's user. Also, Reddit users are just so fucking weird, I have to say. Replied to Corgi Huntress and put, just to pile on a little, high intelligence does not guarantee success. I know plenty of highly intelligent people who are not successful for a variety of reasons. Having two assholes for parents might be a reason some smart kids don't end up being successful. Just saying. Alright. Even underscore enthusiasm 7223 writes, she insults your husband and your son and then gets mad when you point out that the qualities that she seems to think are lacking are the same ones that have her going through a really bad divorce. You are not harsh enough. Not the asshole. And you don't need friends like her. To which Call Me Pepper 7 replied to Even Enthusiasm and put, yeah, this right here. Anyone who says that OP went too far fails to realize that her friend was the first one to insult OP's child and husband. Don't dish what you can't take. Also, wait, sorry, I skipped over, History Aaron, who wrote, just chiming in to say that your husband sounds amazing, and I hope he thrives in his nursing program. Totally not the asshole, to which OP replied, thank you so much. He really is an amazing person, and I'm so glad to have him in my life. All the love to OP, her husband, and her son. I hope they thrive in life, and I hope that that woman, rots in a hole for being a piece of shit about learning disabilities. Like, hang on. What is this one that I bookmarked? Oh, it's this one! Oh, jeez. Oh, this one. Oh, this one. Okay. We need to talk about this one because, oh, Jesus Christ. I need to remember what this one was. I was like, what is this? What is this one again? I don't remember. Okay, but this one. This one. Oh, joy. The person who posted this is obviously not the asshole. I'm gonna point that out now because it's being pointed out in here. But, oh, this one. Let's talk about this, shall we? What is this song? Let me look. Peach Gardens from Mario Kart Wii. DS Peach Gardens, it says, from Mario Kart Wii. If you were talking about the one previous to that one... Oh, Jesus, why can't I click on things today? It was Goldenrod City from Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver. Alright, my mouse is bugging me. Why is it not letting me scroll properly? Hang on, I gotta clean it. Sometimes my mouse just tracks up gunk, like dust from the desk, and it decides to slow down because of that. I'm just like, bro, please, stop. I turned off the mouse, by the way, while I'm cleaning it. Alright. There we go. Hopefully that should be better. If it's not, I'm going to, riot. Alright, this one. Let's talk about this one. So, OP puts in the title, am I the asshole for repeatedly calling someone stupid after they accuse me of lying about my child's or children's ethnicity, to which this post is on lockdown for an excess of rule violations. Which is like, oh boy, what happened here? So let's read and see what's going on here. Opie writes, my husband is Dominican and I'm Irish. Our kids look like him in terms of facial features, but they inherited my pale skin. Our son has his father's dark hair, but my daughter's is borderline dark blonde. Genes are weird. What are you gonna do? Both my kids and myself have my husband's last name, which is a popular Dominican last name. Excuse me. There have been times we get looks when people hear our last name and my husband isn't around, but it's never been too bad, and usually I shrug it off. Due to my husband's work schedule, he's rarely at school events, so most people just know me. There's another little girl in my daughter's class with the same last name as us. Her mom also volunteers often. When we met, she flat out said, "You're not Dominican." I said, "No, my husband and kids are." She said, "But your last name is last name." I said, "Yeah, because it's my husband's." She pointed out how pale they are. I just said genes are weird. But almost every time we see each other, she brings it up somehow, making comments about how pale the kids are, finding it weird they don't know Spanish. My husband didn't learn growing up, so they don't know it either. I just let it roll off because it's weird. I'm not about to get into a pissing contest. The teacher asked the kids to make collages about their cultures. My daughters had stuff related to being a Dominican and stuff related to being Irish. They had a whole culture day where parents were invited. The mom of the other little girl, this is where I got tripped up. I thought it was the little girl. It's the mom of the little girl. Saw my daughter's collage and rolled her eyes. Thankfully not in front of my daughter. There were no other kids around at the time as they were getting food. It was just parents looking at the collages. I asked what her problem is. She said, "I'm not a real Dominican." I said, "I never claimed to be." She said my kids aren't either, and that my husband is probably only a little Dominican, and we're claiming a culture that's not ours. I was dumbfounded. All I could ask was, "Are you stupid?" She said there was no need to be defensive. Finally, I had enough, pulled out my phone, and showed her pictures of myself with my husband and the kids. She stared at it for a moment and mumbled an apology. I said, "Yeah, maybe research how genes work so you don't make yourself look stupid in front of a bunch of third graders." She got teary-eyed and walked away. I got the stink eye from some other parents, which I ignored. When I told my husband later, he said calling her stupid repeatedly when she already apologized was an asshole move. Am I the asshole? No, this person is not the asshole. Obviously. Because, like, I don't know what this woman's problem was in trying to one-up this woman constantly by just continuing to say, "You're not Dominican, you're not Dominican, your children are Dominican." Like, constantly devaluating that, even though, first of all, the woman said, "No, I'm not Dominican," repeatedly, and also was like continuing to repeat, "My husband and my children are Dominican," and never tried to claim to be Dominican. Like, she never said that anywhere, and this woman just randomly kept assuming that OP was Dominican for some reason, and it took OP showing her pictures of her children and with her husband and her for this woman to finally back off. It's just literally like a one-up, I guess. And I understand, like, people fake claiming being an identity that they're not. That happens way more often than you think. But at this time, it's just like, if this woman keeps, if OP keeps telling this woman, like, "Oh, I'm not Dominican, I'm not Dominican," you keep assuming she's Dominican. It's so weird. It's so weird. Discrimination against mixed race people is real. Yes, it is very real, because I think the type of discrimination that mixed race people tend to get is that they're not a certain, like, they're not, because they're mixed, and more oftentimes they're like part white, part a different ethnicity. They're like, "Oh, you're not enough when it comes to being this ethnicity." You know, like, it's just constantly devaluing the fact that they're mixed race consistently. You're not black enough, you're not indigenous enough, like all that kind of devaluing that mixed race people tend to get. And this is like one of those instances where the children are getting the brunt of that, where you're like, "You're not Dominican enough," even though they are Dominican because their father is Dominican. So it's like it's continuing devaluating. It's just baffling that this woman just keeps making assumptions instead of, like, listening. It's ridiculous. So in any case, let's see what the masses had to say. I hope we don't get anything awful. So Confusion Possible 590 said, "Forget the discrimination and just come together through the Roomba." Okay, the wording on that's a little funky. We shouldn't completely discredit the fact that this was discrimination. Like, discrimination, especially in this terms, is like, it's like racism. It's just, we shouldn't devalue that in this conversation. It's important that we have these discussions, and I get you're making a joke, but it's still like we need to have a discussion about this and not devalue that, and look at these kinds of examples and understand that this is something we shouldn't be doing to people, and it's just rude and racist and bigoted altogether. And it devalues a lot of people, especially those who are mixed race, who often feel like they don't match up enough to the fact that they are part of one culture and then are part of another, especially if they are partially white or partially a different ethnicity. If that makes any sense. That might be making no sense, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from with that. So Confusion Possible 590 said, "I'm quite tired. Sorry if my silliness is a little unfair." That's okay, just as long as you understand that what you said was a little bit wonky, and just don't do that again, please. Thank you. We already had somebody that was, like, discrediting the fact that I was talking about racism once before, and I don't want that to happen again, you know what I mean? During Am I the Asshole, too. Anyway. I mean, it sounds like she's been harassing you for a while over this, and maybe more than a little prejudice. Gatekeeping an entire culture? What if your husband didn't look Dominican enough for her? There comes a point where you stop being nice. Maybe you did take it a bit far, but repeated snide remarks wear a person down until they snap. Not the asshole, because it feels justified. Genetics are super weird. Reminds me of a story I was listening to the other week about a family with only albino children, and the father blamed the mother for it. Called her all sorts of awful names, had an affair, ran off with the mistress he knocked up, and who also had albino children. I get it. I know serious things need to be serious. Okay, that's good then. I'm glad we've come to an understanding, at least. You're better than the other person. If you watch the VOD for the other Am I the Asshole that we did, I just fucking got so mad at that person. And that person is banned, by the way. They haven't been back since. But I got so incredibly mad because they were like, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm just here for you. When I was discussing how important it is that we veer away from teaching children racist things and generally just teach them better values that aren't racist and stuff like that. Anyway. So, yeah, this person's right. Gatekeeping an entire culture is not okay, and especially because then that's, especially with what the person said is, what if your husband didn't look Dominican enough? Like, yeah, anyway. Irish_whiskey went on to write, not the asshole, then quoted OP and saying, she said there's no need to be defensive. She just called you a fake Dominican appropriating another culture and suggested you were lying about your husband and kids' ethnicity. Yeah, there is a need to be defensive because she was attacking you. You'd probably get less stink eye if you said it politely without insults, but it's not like she didn't deserve it. Exactly. Isla's Diary wrote, not the asshole. Why would she be so pressed about someone else's culture or culture they claim to be? She was rude and basically harassing you on more occasions than one. She wasn't entitled to an explanation, let alone having to show her a picture of your family for her to be convinced. I think you were more than patient with her and definitely not the asshole. Hate to break it to her, but she isn't the only Dominican to walk the earth, and not all Dominicans are gonna look like what her mind accepts as one. Exactly. Dominican people don't all look alike. That in itself is also a racist ideology. Like, no one person can be a certain amount of Dominican in a person's mind, because Dominican people all look different. Like, all Caribbean people look different. Like, all South African people look different. Like, every person that is of a different ethnicity is going to look different, because that's just how people are. You know? No one person looks the same unless they're like twins. So, in any case, I don't know, that woman was just being silly. Not even silly, just being racist. Alright, so before we move on to this next one, which is our first one that isn't talking about intersex people, that is an asshole post, I'm gonna real quick go get some more water and use the restroom. So, I'm gonna BRB real quick. And in the meantime, you guys can listen to some funky music, some funky, nice music, and I'll be right back. Hang in there, folks. Alright, I'm back. I had to open my window because it was getting stuffy in my room. Yeah, get some water, everyone. It's really hot outside. Stay hydrated, folks. Let's see. I need to turn my brightness on my monitor sound so I'm not getting flashbanged in the dark. Actually, that's a little too dark. There we go. Okay, what do we got? On a serious note, I find discussions like this difficult because racist people boggle my mind. I just can't understand why people would be so rude to others without a second thought. Racism is a very... it's a heavy topic, certainly. Especially because it's not just on an individual basis that racism is, it comes from, I guess is what I have to say. Because racism is a systemic issue. Here, I'll pop my face back onto the screen so we can talk about this. Hi, I'm back. Glad you had noodles for lunch, that's cool. Right, so, but yeah, racism is a systemic issue. I'm sorry, I have a bad stutter. That's why I stumble over my words a lot. It's a systemic problem that is at the root of society, especially in America. That's the basis of our government is a white supremacist society. It's built on the blood of many non-white people, especially black slaves, indigenous people, very many non-white people that we just killed to make the current society we have possible. So it's less of a racism happens at the individual level, and racism more so that racism happens at the governmental level, and that trickles down into the people because of the values that we espouse that continue to be perpetuated in society, which I know is a big thing to wrap your head around. Like, wait, it's a systemic problem, not an individual problem? Yes. Yes. Individual people are racist, but it is also the government and many government-operated systems that are racist as a result. And it is boggling to understand why people are like that, because you yourself are anti-racist and you're generally for the well-being of people who are minorities and want and need the support from the government, but it's also important that we understand that the government is the problem. Systemic level, yes. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm so sorry if I don't say certain sentences correctly, and if I stumble over my words a lot. Especially lately, my stutter has been really bad, and I've been struggling to get words out of my mouth lately. So I'm sorry if I said the sentence incorrectly, if I said a word incorrectly. But I hope you understood what it was that I am talking about. Especially if you're young, like probably in like high school, just getting out of high school. If you plan on going to college, there are courses that are offered that talk more in depth about this, because I'm one person and I have a tendency to get things wrong. But hopefully I explained that as best as I could, and I hope that encourages you to do more research about these things, to get a better grasp about the horrible white supremacist society that we find ourselves in, that we've built, this colonizing society that doesn't value other ethnicities that are not white, that inherently push them down into poverty and then push up those who are white into middle class, upper class society as a result. So yeah, sorry. I hope I explained that okay. I'm so sorry if I didn't. There are resources out there for you to look into that more, that explain it a lot better in better academic terms than I ever will. So in any case, let's get back to Am I the Asshole? And let's do this one, because this one, oh boy. I hate when people are racist. The only thing we can do is stand up against racist people and tell another adult, and then we have to wait for the situation out until the adult does something. Well, if you're younger, then certainly. If it's like a peer-to-peer basis, then you can try your best to negate the situation and talk about certain things. that hopefully will change their mind about being racist, but just try your best to educate people when it comes to racism. If it gets dangerous, then that maybe you might need to shift the situation away and shift it to some other means. I'm not the best person to talk about this with, of course. Like I said, there are resources out there that can help educate you better about what to do in these kinds of situations. I'm not the best person to come to about this, of course, so I'm just going to usher you to resources that are available, because I can talk about these things, but these are things that I have learned from BIPOC over the years now, and so also just listen to BIPOC when they tell you something is racist. Listen to them, uplift their voices. Don't talk over them, uplift them. There you go. Alright, let's talk about this Am I the Asshole post, because this shit is wild. This one's wild, because this one, my girlfriend and I were like, what the fuck? Okay, so this one is, am I the asshole for punishing my family by no longer doing birthdays, holidays, vacations, because my dad screwed me and my wife over? I understand the umbrella you're talking about. I think I'll probably end up researching it eventually when I start college. I'm not sure how much of it will come in handy to help people in the future. That's good. That's a very good start. I'm glad that you'll, that you're gonna do that. I'm sure a lot of it will end up being helpful. I'm sure of it. There's books, there's articles, there's so much out there for you to investigate. Hopefully I hope even a little can help people when I start my playing career. Absolutely! And that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Alright, let's read this post. I'm so sorry. I'm getting distracted. But it's for a good thing. But still, let's read this. So this person was dubbed an asshole. So let's read. When my wife and I were talking about getting married, my dad said that he would give us a down payment for a home. We were thrilled and kept that in mind. We would be able to afford a good starter home with his help, and we scrimped and saved to add to it. I still don't know what scrimped means, but okay. I'm hoping to go into psychology/therapy. Oh, that's awesome! I have a degree in psychology. So yeah! That's awesome. I wish you all the luck in that endeavor. Except apparently he meant a sum of money good for a down payment for a house near us where the cost of living is low. He did not even, excuse me, he did not ever mean a down payment for a home in Colorado where my wife and I have lived since we were in college. He said, he thought I would be smart enough to realize that we'd need to move somewhere with a lower cost of living than Colorado. I really want to get into psychology. Hey, if you want to make the commitment, it is there for you. There are different branches of psychology, though, that you can get into. It's not just one linear path. There's multiple. I'm going down the path of child therapy. But hey, all the better. Just as long as you're committed to it. I'm gonna change the music. I'm so distracted. I'm sorry. Listen, somebody's talking to me about their interests, especially ones where they want to, like, talk about their, what they want to do in college. I'm, like, all over it. Anyway, sorry. Alright, let's get back to the post. Also recommend learning about other types of humanities, such as history, sociology, and anthropology. Yes, because that's also important. I took other courses whilst I was getting my degree, not just in, like, psychology courses. I actually took very little psychology courses. I took a lot of studies in racism. I took sociology classes. I took a lot of just general courses to help, courses pertaining to ableism. I took a course about disability. That's what that course was about. I took a lot of courses to help expand out my understanding of the world, so that I wasn't stuck in a singular linear path that I had been stuck in for a really long time. So in taking those courses, I helped expand out my mind a lot better in a lot of different areas, and especially if you're going to a field like psychology or therapy, that will definitely help you out in taking on clients and helping them through whatever it is that they're going through. Oh damn, I'm so sorry, your iPad's on 3%. I'm giving you a salute. Anyway, sorry. Rain, back to it. He keeps saying to move to a cheaper city. Our lives are here. Our friends, our jobs, our hobbies. We can't exactly leave your house and you can't exactly leave your house and be up on top of a 14,000 foot peak in 6 hours. Where my family is. I told him that we had never talked about moving back there and we never would. That we would rather be stuck renting for a while longer than be stuck somewhere we didn't want to be, and the move to a cheaper city wouldn't work for us. He said so be it and gave us the amount that was that. I expressed gratitude and thanked him for the money. It is still toward the goal. Well, because of this shift in our finances, we had to make lots of changes to save up the rest of the money. We have had to cut out vacations, birthday gifts, holidays, etc. We won't be traveling home for a few years at our current rate. We should have an okay down payment by the end of next year, 2025. My dad confronted us about this because we won't come for a summer break trip and told me that I was being selfish, a selfish, entitled brat because I haven't gotten my way. That I was essentially punishing the rest of the family because we assumed what his gift would be. I told him that I was grateful for the amount he gave us, but that it means we do need to I told him that I was grateful for the amount he gave us, but that it means we do need to buckle down and save every penny if we want to be able to afford a house anytime soon. Even townhouses around us are easily over $400K, and that's for the sketchy ones. But is my dad right? Am I the asshole? We'll read the FAQ stuff in a second. Okay, so just to recap, because we got interrupted, I interrupted myself a whole bunch answering chat. I'm so sorry. This person, and their wife talked about being married, and so his father talked about giving them a down payment for a home, but it wasn't for a home near them. It was a home near where his dad was. Which they didn't agree with, and talked about how it was like cost of living and stuff like that. And so he wasn't he was like, I don't agree with that. So the dad gave him the money, and because of the shift in these finances, they've essentially stopped communicating with the family, and the family's not happy about that. This one I read the comments ahead of time for, and like I agree with the comments a lot, but I think in this situation everyone says the OP is the asshole. I think everyone sucks here personally. The dad sucks, the son sucks, they all suck. Because the son is asking for money. Hello, welcome my friend. The son is asking essentially saying like, oh, the money's not good enough, and the dad's just like wanting what he wants. I don't know, I'm not explaining it very well. You know what, let's go to the comments, because the comments explain it a lot better than I could. So I'm just flubbing through it. So let me just go here. Oh look, it's our friend Agog Kiwi. So let's go to the comments and they'll explain it better than me, because my stutter's getting worse as the stream is going on, and I'm struggling so bad to get through my words right now. I'm just like, I'm so sorry if I just stop in the middle of a sentence and I'm like, and start the sentence over. It's just because, like, my brain is struggling so hard with getting words out of my mouth, and it sucks. I hate it. Anyway, so Mercy_full_fate put info. Did he give you the amount he said he would? Because if he did, I fail to see how he screwed you over. To which Agog Kiwi replied, the problem is the dad said a down payment on a house. That is essentially meaningless and subject to interpretation. Is that 10% or 20%? Also, where is the house? My kids bought houses the same year, one on the West Coast and the other in the Midwest. The kid in the Midwest bought twice the house for half the price. The father said a down payment, and the OP looked at the houses he liked and imagined a number. The father looked at houses the father liked and came up with a much lower number. They didn't communicate, so they're both pissed. Use your words, people. Exactly. Just communicate. For the love of all things holy, use your words, man. Talk. But also OP is just like, that's not good enough, essentially. It's like, that is not, just, that's what OP would. Alright, Millennium put, your dad screwed you and your wife by giving you money, but less than you had hoped for. If you can't afford to travel, that's one thing, but trying to portray this as your family screwing you, oh my god, over somehow, yikes. That's a definitive you are the asshole from me. Good grief, but yes. Also, just not getting your family birthday gifts or gifts at all for holidays is a little bit fucked up. I can understand not traveling or doing a vacation or anything, like, just to save up money for a little bit to get the amount you want to move into the place that you want, but not, like gifts and stuff for family? Come on, that's being stingy. Also, let's look at the FAQ now that we've read a couple of comments, and then we'll go promptly back to reading the comments. So, OP puts, there was no amount formally discussed. He said a down payment, and that was that. So you're not going to disclose how much he gave you. Alright, sure, whatever you say, bud. For my siblings, he paid for college. He paid cash in full for my sister's house. It was $317,000. He did not pay for my college. This is why I said everyone sucks here, because the dad has a lot of money. He just has a lot of money. It's like, this kid's like a Nepo baby, almost. Like, this whole family is just teeming with privilege. They are invited to come here anytime, but believe it should be me to go there because I am the one who moved away. Good lord. No, we do not go out to eat. Avocado toast, Starbucks, cable, etc. So they're just saying, I guess OP is addressing the people that are saying, you're rich and you go out to eat food, you put avocado on your toast, which is like a California thing to do, I guess. Go out, get Starbucks, cable, whatever. Imagine money. God, I wish. I hate living in a capitalistic society. Anyway, I hate living in a society that depends so much on money, man. Anyway, let's read some more comments. Mbop put, God, what a name for a Redditor. So many of these names are interesting. You're the asshole for framing it as your dad screwing you over. He offered you a down payment for a home. You assumed it would be a certain amount. It wasn't. But he still gave you a generous gift, and now you describe that generous gift is screwing you over. Also, while you're under no obligation to go on family trips, to cut out any visits to them for a few years after your dad gave you this generous gift because it wasn't as much as you were expecting sends a message whether you mean it to or not. Which is absolutely fair. This one is one OP responded to. From user Shoulders and Chest. Once again, at it again with the weird fucking Reddit names. Why don't you do some critical thinking and maybe ask them to come visit you this time? I don't know, you guys are both assholes in this situation. Y'all need to communicate better and find a resolution. To which OP responded, we have told them that since we can't come out there and they have plenty of disposable income, they are welcome to come out here. My mom would love to come see us and we'd be happy to have her. My dad is being stubborn and saying that they're the parents, so we need to go see them. So it's just a parent digging their heels in and saying like, no, you have money, come visit us, even though the dad has a whole bunch of money and can pay for an entire child's home? Okay. Anyway, everybody sucks here. This post is infuriating. Wasting money. Okay, so how many posts? We have 4 posts left for us to discuss. And they're all doozies. So this one was labeled not enough info, and I just don't know what to think about this one, so we're just gonna try to work our way through this. My girlfriend and I did talk about this one, but I'm just curious. Hopefully we'll figure something out through discussing this one. So OP's title for this one is, am I the asshole for selling my home that I was allowing my daughter to stay in for free, even though she did some upgrades to it? So the post goes on to state, I inherited a home years ago from my mother. It was overall outdated, but in good condition. It is 5 hours away from where I live. My daughter, 26, and her husband fell on hard times, and I allowed her to move in about 2 years ago for free. It is near the city they work at. I paid for everything and was letting them use it to get back on their feet. I informed them they can make changes to the home, just not to take out walls or any huge stuff. The last time I was at the home was about a year ago, and it looked like they painted The house is causing issues for my finances now, and I have had multiple people reach out to me to sell. I also want to sell it since I am tired of seeing the home. It just reminds me of my mom and that she is gone. So being a landlord isn't good for my mental health. So I decided to sell. I informed my daughter that they have 6 months to find a new place. This started an argument. She apparently put in a lot of upgrades, such as redoing the stairs, kitchen, and are in the middle of the bathroom. That I am screwing them over, and that now the house is worth more. She called me a jerk for this, and I reminded them that I gave them 2 years of housing for free. I can't read to save my life. Whatever. I am on the fence and want more opinions. So my immediate reaction to this was that OP was the asshole, just because of the fact that just this line in itself is very telling and saying, so being a landlord isn't good for my mental health. I don't necessarily see what the issue with being a landlord is you're raking in the money here from renting out a place, especially because you're not even making profit from the fact that you're letting your daughter room there for free. And now you're giving her 6 months to find a new place, all because you want to sell the home, because you're tired of seeing it, and it reminds you of your mother, and that she is gone. Now, I don't know whether or not this person, OP's mother, was good to her or not, if they had a strained relationship, or to them, rather. If they had a good relationship or not, or if they're just sad that their mother passed away, and that they meant a lot, she meant a lot to her. But them, God... I'm struggling, I'm sorry. But I don't know, it just is, it's interesting. And I can understand why this got labeled not enough info, because there really isn't a lot to go on here. But my immediate just jerk reaction was like, yeah, you're kind of the asshole for doing that. Especially because it's based on your own feelings toward the house. I mean, I get it, she owns the house, but like... maybe you should have let your daughter finish the renovations? I don't know. Alright, let's see. Let's see. What did the people have to say? Jane Wilson 90 put, info. Did you have a conversation with your daughter before telling them they had 6 months to move out? Even if she was just a tenant and not your daughter, the polite thing to do is to have the conversation before issuing the eviction notice. There's obviously a disconnect between the two of you in terms of upgrades to the house, but regardless, you're going to benefit from the work they've put in. There should be some form of compensation to them. Can you add more plushies? Yeah, maybe I'll put more plushies in on next stream. I mean, I've had these two for a while. But we'll see, Maybe I'll add another, maybe I won't. We'll see. Anyway, OP responded to this, comment saying, I've mentioned before that I want to get rid of the home. I wasn't hiding the fact that I do not like owning it. I also was very clear that this was to help them out and not a permanent thing. Wicked Angel Love wrote, 6 months notice is more than enough from a landlord. Normally it's only 30 to 60 days. She gave them until the end of the year. To which Jane Wilson replied to Wicked Angel Love saying, Opie isn't a faceless landlord though, they're family, and even from a landlord, I'd say that a long-term tenant deserves a conversation before an eviction notice, even one which has a long date on it. So let's see. A lot of people are saying 6 months notice is a lot more than most tenants get. We should have had a conversation about it. And there's just a lot of people having like a back and forth commentary about it. So there's just a lot of people, I guess, back and forthing, saying like, I think this should have happened, I think that should have happened. Just a lot of back and forth, which I guess is to be expected, because really, what is not a lot of to say about it. I'm just not a big fan of landlords. So that's why I'm immediately like, yeah. So, of all those posts, those are all the ones that me and my girlfriend found together. These next 3 are the ones that I found myself, and they are quite the doozy. I haven't looked at the comments for any of these. I just kind of bookmarked them and went with it. So let's talk about them, shall we? And this one, based on the title alone, I went, oh boy. So let's talk about it. This user put, am I the asshole for telling my dad there will be no making up for missing my high school graduation? To which this person was dubbed not the asshole. So let's see what they had to say. I'm 18 male, graduating high school at the end of this month. My dad dropped the bomb on me 2 nights ago that his stepdaughter, 14F, has an award ceremony for some competition she entered and won in another state on that same day, and that she really wants him to be there. He told me he couldn't make it to both, and since his wife and their children together will be going, he needs to be there too. He told me he would make it up to me, and we could celebrate together another time. I still live with him, not for much longer. My mom died when I was 7, and my dad got married again when I was around 11 or 12. It's been a few years anyway. His stepdaughter never knew her bio dad, so my dad has accepted her as his own, and he has prioritized her a lot in the last 5 to 6 years. It doesn't always show in the most obvious ways, but it can be felt. Father-son time was put on an indefinite hiatus, and instead, Dad told me we needed to include her in our time together, but he also spent time with just her for father-daughter time. I brought it up to my dad, and he told me I wasn't exactly making an effort to be closer to her, so he wanted us to all bond, or he wanted us all to bond, I can't read, sorry, and didn't want me to just focus on my relationship with him. He has attended her dance things instead of my basketball games if they're on the same time, on at the same time, rather. It doesn't matter if mine was known about first, he will skip my stuff to go to hers. He will take us on family days, and whenever he and his wife say kids can choose, he picks her choice over mine. He claims it's because they will be the most fun for everyone, but really he even says it afterward, anything his little princess wants. Our refrigerator and shower broke at the same time. His stepdaughter's birthday was coming up, so he took money from my birthday fund to pay for that stuff, and so his stepdaughter would definitely get what she wanted, which is this Barbie house thing and a whole fashion set, and I think, they were, I think, Dad said $250. He didn't get all the money back by the time my birthday came around, so instead he bought me a $30 gift card for Steam when he had promised me a new monitor and a keyboard for my computer. That was a gift from my grandparents. When my dad told me he wouldn't be at my graduation to go and support her, I told him there is no making up for that and he can forget about being included in my life going forward. He told me he would make it up to me, and I told him I will always come second to his little princess, and I'm not going to be okay with that. I told him he's discarded me for the last time. Dad begged me to be reasonable, but I walked away. Then I invited both sets of grandparents who agreed to come. His wife told me I could have come with them, and I don't need to attend the ceremony, but could support my sister. I said her daughter's not my sister, and I do not want to support their family anymore, and I will be out of their hair soon. She called me selfish, and told me I can't deny her daughter a dad. Am I the asshole? This is sad. Yeah, this obviously OP is not the asshole. His dad is just paying far more attention to his stepsister than to him, and is basically just shoving him off instead to pay more attention to her, which is very, very sad. Like, you should pay equal amounts of attention to your children if you have multiple of them. Obviously, they can't stop parents from having, like, favorites or whatever. That's inevitably going to happen in some instances, but you know, that's rare. I guess a lot of parents who have multiple children have say that all their kids are their favorites and mean it. But this instance, there is a definite favorite here, and the dad just clearly, absolutely waits hand and foot on this on his stepdaughter, and just completely neglected his son in favor of her, even choosing to go to his stepdaughter's award ceremony instead of his son's graduation from high school. That's such a pivotal moment in his life too. Like, graduating high school is such a keystone moment in someone's life. Like, you should obviously have your family there to celebrate with you. I remember when I graduated, a whole bunch of my family came out to celebrate because it was a monumental moment. Obviously, I mean, like, my grandparents were there, my parents, my sister, my niece, a whole bunch of people were there. I think my uncles were there too. A lot of people were there to come celebrate the fact that I graduated high school if they could make it. Like, it was wonderful. and it was a monumental and fun fun time. God, I can't talk. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it broke my mood now. Very sad. Yeah, it is very sad. And no, the son is not the asshole for saying that there's no making up for missing his high school graduation, because, like, yeah, there is no making up that. There is no making up walking up to get your degree and shaking your principal/teacher's hands. There's no making up any of that. You can have, like, a little celebration, but there's no making up the actual ceremony itself. At the very beginning, I felt indifferent and thought that the dad was being nice by trying to make things up, but by the end, I had made up my mind. Yeah. Like, I already knew what it entailed because I read this whole post ahead of time just to make sure it was, like, appropriate for stream, of course. But, like, definitely, this dad is just being neglectful. I only have my mom attend. So, I was literally at a graduation party earlier today. It's a big thing. It is a big thing. So many parents come out to see their kids graduate because that is such, like, a pivotal moment. Like, you can't make that up. So I feel for OP, and I hope he's doing well. It was posted a month ago, so I hope he's doing okay. Let's see what the comments had to say. User apart-ad-6518. God, I will never get over these usernames. Put, you're not the asshole. Graduating high school is a big milestone. It's creditable your dad wants to be there for his stepdaughter. He needs to maintain balance, though, and I feel like he should have made time for a once-in-a-lifetime thing for you. I hope you still enjoy your day, and many congratulations. Which I agree. I hope that OP had a wonderful graduation, and that he lived it up. OP responded, actually, saying, that balance never existed. Once she came into his life, he prioritized her every step of the way. Which is, that's so sad. Man, I hope, oh man. Poor guy. User Fish Fountain put, wow, what a horrible way to keep showing you don't matter to them. Totally not the asshole, and congrats on the freedom that awaits you. I'm impressed by your clarity of thinking. Took me much longer to get to that level of understanding. If not done already, get your plans started or refined further. The shame they are hiding may cause some additional grief and manipulation. You got this. Good luck. Life is very sweet without constant disappointment. I agree. To which OP responded, really, I only want to matter to him, but time and time again, he has shown me that I don't. Man, OP's responded to quite a few of these. A deleted user put, massive not the asshole. Besides the fact that that's his stepdaughter, high school graduation trumps essentially all childhood activities in priority of attendance by parents. Yeah, also, he doesn't need to be there. Like, one parent can go and take pictures and like video and shit to show if the parent can't make it, and then the other parent can show up for the graduate. Like, you can split it up. You don't have to, like, have all of them go, but clearly this guy just is prioritizing his stepdaughter over his son, so, like, that just doesn't matter. To which OP responded again, should be that way, but for my dad it isn't. Once it's hers, it will always be her celebration. Yeah. Now, so, but yeah, I hope that OP got out okay, and I hope that OP's thriving now that he's graduated high school. Well, maybe he's gone on to college, maybe he's gone into a trade, who knows. But, yeah. We are on to our penultimate post, folks. And then we might peruse the front of r/amitheasshole for a moment and look at some posts, and then I think we'll wrap up stream. I didn't intend for this stream to be long anyways, because, like, these Am I the Asshole streams are never really long because I'm just reading posts and talking about them. So, in any case. Okay, so this one, there's some context. I'll show you the post. So I went and looked specifically in the spirit of pride to go look for some posts specifically that were LGBT, but specifically lesbian related, because I'm a lesbian, in case you guys didn't know. My girlfriend is also a lesbian. So I just wanted to talk about a couple posts that mention lesbians in some way. So I found two of them. One of them, the person was dubbed not the asshole, and the other one is the asshole. Oh man, I arrived a little while ago. Don't worry about it. there's the VOD. You can always go through and watch the rest of it. And like I said, we're gonna go through probably the front of r/am I the asshole and find a few more before I end off for the night. So I think I'm gonna be heading to bed early. I hope y'all have a great night. Thank you for joining us. Yep, thank you. I hope you have a good night. Thank you for joining. Are you an only child? No, I have a sister, who is older than me. I will not say how old she is for privacy reasons, but she is older and moved out. But yes, that's all I'll say about that because that is personal information. Like, I can say what my sister, like, ambiguously what my sister's occupation is, but not get into the specificities of it. But I won't say how old she is, just because, you know, I gotta be careful about what I say on the internet. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about this post that OP wrote. Am I the asshole for telling my dad he turned me asexual/lesbian? To which this person was dubbed not the asshole. So let's see what OP wrote. My dad is the typical overprotective dad who didn't let me or my younger sisters wear nice clothes, go on dates, have male friends, have guys on social media, or anything else. My mom goes along with whatever he says. Retracted. You didn't need to retract it, but okay. It was much harder on my sisters because it turns out I'm asexual, gray sexual, with romantic attraction to women. Because I was happy to wear baggy flannels and hang out with girls, my parents constantly used me as an example to my sisters. It caused a lot of resentment, which still lingers. I finally came out to them after the holidays because 1, I'm finally sure of my identity, and 2, my mom started making "when are you giving me grandbabies" comments now that I'm old, quote unquote. My mom is struggling but trying. My dad is not taking it well. He keeps suggesting therapy, sending me weird links, trying to set me up, etc. Last time we talked, he started with, "I must be a terrible father. Where did I go wrong?" I snapped. I told him he shouldn't be surprised I turned out like this since he never let me dress or act feminine and yelled at me every time I talked to boys. I told him that it was too late for me, and if he wanted to save my sisters, he should let them do normal girl things. He hasn't talked to me since. My mom keeps asking me to apologize and just try therapy because apparently his spirit is broken. My sisters are conflicted because they can finally breathe, but he's completely withdrawn from them now. They don't want me to back down, though, because they're afraid of things going back to how they were. I feel guilty because I'm perpetuating the idea that there's something inherently wrong with people who aren't cis, het, etc., that we are the way we are because we are damaged or broken. Am I the asshole? To which OP adds an edit to clarify, I know he didn't actually make me gay. That's why I'm asking if I'm the asshole. I knew when I said it that it wasn't true, but I said it anyway just to make the harassment stop. I think you guys know what my answer is. Goodness, I'm halfway through my water. Good lord. Oh my gosh! Moderator Leah has made it! Let's go! Let's go! Moderator Leah has arrived. Everyone pop the party poppers. Woo! Oh my gosh, we're glad to have you here. We're just about done with all of the posts that I bookmarked, and then we're gonna go through a bunch of posts on the front page of r/am I the asshole for a little while. So you made it. Just in time for some shenanigans. I just read through this post that OP asks, are they the asshole for telling their dad that he turned them asexual/lesbian? It's me, I'm Leah, yeah. And the gist of this one is that OP's dad's a bit of a shit when it comes to lesbians, and OP eventually came out about being like asexual, gray, asexual, and a lesbian, to which the mom was like struggling with it but generally okay, and the dad was like, I must be a terrible dad, where did I go wrong about it, and keeps suggesting therapy and stuff, to which the OP snapped about it, and the dad hasn't spoken to him since, or her since. OP is not the asshole, obviously. the dad is being very weird, and it's generally this kind of stigma that lesbians face a lot, and it's not just lesbians, it's a lot of people who are LGBT that face these kinds of conversations with parents, like the parents like blaming themselves and being like, oh, where did I go wrong in this situation? Why is my child not into the opposite gender but the same gender instead? And trying to force heterosexuality on them in some way by, in this instance with OP, suggesting therapy, continually trying to set up relationships, and a whole bunch of nonsense. The dad's the piece of shit in this situation and not OP. Obviously not the asshole. Yes, obviously. 100%. So anyway, let's see what people had to say. Oh, of course, the first person I see is user Whoopie Whooper. What is up with these Reddit usernames, I swear? We have had the weirdest users. My favorite user tonight has been Shoulders and Chest, by and large. I don't know why, that one's just stuck in my head for some reason. Anyway, user Whoopie Whooper put, not the asshole. You may have said things harshly in a moment of anger, but I think what you said still represents your feelings. Your dad sounds very childish, but it's not down to you to teach him how to be a good supportive parent. I would suggest he is the one who needs therapy. Not that you might not benefit from some, but he needs to understand his defensive and immature behavior risks alienating all of his kids. To which OP responded, I actually did get therapy when I moved out, which my parents don't know about because they don't believe in therapy, except to cure the gay, I guess. It was what helped me realize why I always felt like there was something wrong with me. Turns out I'm not broken. I'm lesbian. It's such a relief to realize. Let's see what people had to say. Okay, friends, let's get our hazmat suits on. Alright, get the gas masks. We gotta hose it down when we're done. Because people's opinions are rank. Alright, so user Fattest Avenger wrote, not the asshole. He wants you to get therapy to change your sexuality. There's no world in which you can tell him to fuck off however you want is... wait, what? There's no world in which you tell him to fuck off however you want is equal to the harm that conversion therapy can do, to which Beardman Michael replied and said, he is the one who needs therapy in my opinion. Convert into a dad with no more disgusting prejudices. Exactly. Conversion therapy is very dangerous, mentally can break a lot of people. There have been a lot of accounts of people who've gone through conversion therapy, and it has fucked them over immensely, given them a lot of trauma, especially the methods that they use in conversion therapy, which is why it should be illegal. And I think it's starting to become illegal, which is good. Hopefully, crossing a finger. Sailor_moon_night wrote, not the asshole. I'm sorry, but I'm a lesbian. Where did I go wrong? Well, maybe you should have let me talk to boys. Is the funniest exchange imaginable, and I adore you. Go get 'em, Tiger. I hope you and your sisters manage to reconcile about this stuff. Your parents are assholes. To which OP responded, given that that almost every interaction I had growing up was with girls. It's a miracle I didn't realize I was attracted to them until I was an adult. Same fucking hat. I just thought it was normal to have really intense friendships that consume your whole life. Compet is a hell of a drug. You are... oh my god, me and OP. Me, OP. Compet is one hell of a drug in fucking deed. My god. I literally have told you guys before, it took me until I was like, what, 22 to fully realize I was a lesbian. So, like, same hat. Convert into a good dad. Maybe have you considered this? Yeah. I hope OP's doing well. This was posted 5 months ago. I hope they're thriving. I hope they're doing amazing. Alright, and now, if I can hide the window, now on to our last post that I bookmarked, which this one is a mess. This one is a huge mess. Oh my god, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. What can I tell you? This one's a mess, and it made me actually angry reading it. And some of the comments I agree with. This one is a year old now, and it didn't get a lot of upvotes, but a lot of comments. So, this one, the public dubbed this person an asshole. OP puts, am I the asshole for telling my best friend that she might be a lesbian in denial? OP specifies that they are using a throwaway for this specific post only. Excuse me. So OP writes, I, 18M, am a long-time friend of a girl in my school named Hannah, 18F. All throughout high school, Hannah has mentioned many times before to me that she's not physically attracted to men and finds certain intimate things completely gross. She had a boyfriend briefly last year, and much as she liked him romantically, the reason they split was because she avoided any sort of physical contact with him. I can't read. Redditors don't have grammar. I was like, yeah, every guy secretly wants to be a girl, right? Until, like, literally a year ago. I so feel you. Yeah. Sometimes we're late bloomers, and that's okay. It happens. Especially because I've had no contact with lesbians in the past, so that took a really long time. Anyway, I had already taken this as a clue that she might not be straight. Anyways, there's a new girl in our school, and she's pretty nice. So I was chatting with Hannah later in the day via Snapchat, and she kept talking about how she found the new girl very attractive, and made very specific comments about the new girl that I found pretty interesting. This isn't the first time either, as she has made very specific comments about many of our other girl classmates to me over time. At that point, I made a comment that I think she is a lesbian in denial and cited all the reasons I listed above. She got upset and started going off about how much she hates the LGB community, there's no T, just the LGB community as a whole. Keep in mind that she does that pretty often. Then she got angry and ghosted me. She isn't acting like this because she is shy or anything. She is keep in mind, she is genuinely in complete denial about this. In my mind, it was like pointing out something obvious that she might not have realized about herself. I also thought that it was a joke that we could all laugh about because we're good friends and we always tease each other. I did not realize this would set her off like this. Okay, first of all, your grammar sucks ass, my guy. Get some fucking Grammarly or something. I don't know. But, like, also, just... Oh my god, this whole post just made me so angry. This post made me so unbelievably angry. Just because of so many reasons. First of all, yes, the guy is an asshole. But also, everyone sucks here. Because this fucking girl is like a bigot toward the LGBT community. And just says, and also he specifies that she does that often? I don't know if that's internalized homophobia or not. I'm gonna not speculate on that. But being bigoted toward the LGBT community as a whole is a big, huge red flag. Like, massively. But in any case, this is not this guy's job to speculate on someone else's sexuality and to even, like, point that out to them or not. Especially in the way that he did it and saying, like, oh, you're a lesbian in denial, and then, like, put, like, a bullet list together of all the reasons why you think this person's a lesbian. Because for all you know, this person might not even be a lesbian. They could be ace, they could be bisexual, they could be a lesbian, but even still, like, pointing it out as such, not your job. Not your job. You can help them, guide them through, talk them through stuff, but pointed toward, like, making a pointed accusation of being a certain sexuality is not your job. It's just not. If people have questions and they come to you with questions about stuff, then you can either sort them, like, cite them, or, like, point them. I can't talk, I'm so sorry. Point them toward resources that they can look to answer their questions, or you can answer their questions to the best of your abilities. So long as you're not going in with bad faith about it. Right? Like, I remember when I was first questioning about being a lesbian, I asked a whole bunch of questions via my Twitter mutuals when I still used Twitter at the time. I asked a whole bunch of questions about, like, my gender and how it pertained to being a lesbian, and if it was, like, just a whole bunch of questions, especially to my, like, lesbian mutuals specifically. I was like, hey, can you guys help me with this? And, like, asked a bunch of questions, and they were very, very kind and answered my questions. And then, boom, I came out as a lesbian, and I was like, sick. It's very simple, honestly. But yeah, don't make pointed accusations like that. That's not your point. Alright, let's read the questions, the comments, and see what they all had to say. Even if she is a lesbian in denial, trying to force people to put a label on their sexuality before they have figured it out themselves can really set someone back on their own internal understanding. Exactly. That. Yep. 100% that. And that's probably why a lot of people come out really late, too, because of those things. So, there you go. Alright, user your-yogurt put, you're the asshole. Look, she could be a lesbian in denial, but that is not your journey nor your secret to tell. Instead, be a good friend and show her that you can be respectful and open if she comes out, too. Because she's still young and still a child. If it comes out she's gay, she could face terrible consequences that she is not ready for. She could be facing a crisis of faith, an abusive past, or is simply not ready. Let her be. To which Kalaya Tom replied and put, she could also be a romantic, asexual, or demisexual, or any number of things. It's not your business unless she tells you, OP, and definitely not your business to speculate on and potentially give rumors spread about. Your-yogurt, yeah. Deleted user replied also and said, why should OP be a good friend to someone who is anti-LGBT? The girl is either in the closet or a bigot. In either way, it's not okay for her to make bigoted comments about a massive group of people. Exactly. That is what I mentioned about it before. Like, she's like a... Even so, he mentioned that she does that often, which is not good. I don't know. It just leaves a sour taste in my mouth, and it's kind of gross. She could also be one of those straight girls that wishes they could date girls, but doesn't think it's a possibility because, oh, I don't want to be a lesbian. I still find guys attractive, but there's just no good guys, so maybe I should date a girl. Those kind of things. But even still, it is not your business to comment on someone else's sexuality. It is also not your business to comment on someone's gender, as we saw earlier with the person who wrote the Am I the Asshole for Wearing Skirts, who talked about being intersex, and someone assumed that they were making fun of being of trans women and made all sorts of gendered assumptions about said person, even though said person does say that he's cis, but also is intersex. So, like, it is still an assumption regardless. So, yeah, just don't be a dick. Don't assume things of people. If they tell you there's some, like, their identity, then that is their identity. Don't make that assumption for them. Goodness, I'm struggling to talk tonight. I'm so sorry. Bottom Booty put, everyone sucks here. Let her figure it out. She's a homophobe. Exactly. An unfortunate amount of bigots are closeted queer people who hate themselves. Yeah, but that's also an assumption a lot of people make too. Like, it's a common trope also in, like, movies that, oh, the bullies or, like, the awful, gross, racist, bigoted people are queer but closeted. Like, it's a thing, certainly, but it's so common that people do that for, like, making fun of the person purposes, or just in general to be, just make an assumption. It's still, like, just don't make assumptions about people. Alright, Voyager6 wrote, everyone sucks here. She's an asshole for being homophobic, regardless of whether or not she asks also happens to be something other than completely straight. You're even more of an asshole for sticking your nose in her business without an invitation. Also, this fucking person down here is, I saw this comment, and this is the one that, I just was like, what? The sarcasm chasm put, I'll say not the asshole. You weren't coming from a place of malice. If she is that anti-alphabet, already got a red flag from that. Then likely it's something internalized from her upbringing. She may not want to consider it, but the subject shouldn't be taboo between two good friends. As long as you didn't use it to try to bully her, I don't see an asshole. She may have some things to work out. A lot of people who called me slurs in high school are now out and proud queer people, which, like, good for them, but also, like, I remember, LOL, exactly, yeah. Yeah. Also, this comment, I was just like I understand what you're going, I don't know. This person's comment just gave me a lot of red flags, especially when they put anti-alphabet instead of, like, anti-LGBT or bigot or, like, homophobic. Like, anti-alphabet is such, like, a very specific phrase that a certain group of people online use that's, like, for me, in any case, a specific dog whistle, and I'm just like... Of course you would say that this person's not the asshole, but alright. Okay. Cyblaze wrote, not the asshole, it sounds like she was raised a bigot and is unable to reconcile who she is and weigh it against what she was taught. This person is an asshole, I don't know, I disagree with that. Like, she was certainly most likely raised a bigot, but also that doesn't excuse him for putting his nose in where he shouldn't have. In any case, a lot of people are mostly agreeing and saying that this person's the asshole. So, there we go. Those are all of the posts that I bookmarked. Oh dear God, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I misplaced stuff. Ah! Ah! What is going on? Whoa. Okay. Okay. Alright. Now it is the time for us to go to the front page of r/am I the asshole. But we're going to do so cautiously because I'm a little afraid. Anyone who calls us the Alphabet Mafia is not to be trusted. Absolutely. Alright, we're gonna be very cautious as we put through here. I'm gonna vet a lot of these posts beforehand, before we look into them. So if we see something with an interesting title, like, this one, Am I the Asshole for Telling My Sister-in-Law that kids like hers are the reason I'm child-free because they stole my keepsakes, I'm gonna vet all of these beforehand, just to make sure that the content of them are appropriate for stream, because I don't want a TOS violation. So what I like to do is I like to go to top, and we're gonna look at the top 4. We'll do today, why not? Hazmat suit time, exactly. Everyone get the hazmat suits, get ready, folks. Sorry also if you can hear, like, street noise in the background. I had to open my window up, it's a bit stuffy. Alright, let's see what we got. Am I the asshole for telling my son I have no plans to motivate or support him after he is an adult? That one sounds pretty tame. I'm trying to find the more outrageous ones. I don't know why. Am I the asshole for telling my sister I won't change my hair color for her wedding? Oh boy. Oh joy. Oh, this one's got the poo mode on it. And it's on lockdown. Okay, this one I'm interested in. So hang on, I'm gonna look into it real quick. Just to double check. And make sure that it's appropriate for stream. So that I won't get my fucking ass handed to me. By fucking YouTube. Okay. An excess of rule violations. Oh joy. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's, Oh, hello, Neptunes. Welcome, welcome. I found a post for us to look at on r/am I the asshole. We'll probably do, like, maybe 3 of these. Maybe 4? I don't know. We'll have to see how many I'm feeling. Because, like, this isn't going to be a terribly long stream. But, yeah. You know it's about to get wild when mods locked the post. Exactly. Exactly. Alright, let's see what do we got here. Alright, am I the asshole for telling my sister I won't change my hair color for her wedding? OP writes, my younger sister, 28F, is getting married. We just went out of town to watch her wedding dress her wedding dress shop. She did find the dress and say yes. Smiling heart emoji. We went out for drinks after to celebrate, and the conversation of my 33F lilac purple hair came up. I get a lot of compliments when I'm out, and I think she was already a little irritated that every wedding place loved my hair. Anyways, she said I plan on asking you to be a bridesmaid in my wedding, but you can't have purple hair. You'll need to dye it brown. My response was, I worked really hard to achieve this color, as it's been my dream hair color for a very long time, and that I'm not dyeing it for one day, that it won't hurt my feelings to not stand up there and with her and her million friends, especially considering I'm making her wedding cake and was already planning on finishing the decorations the day of her wedding. I told her I'd have to scramble to finish her cake and get in for hair and makeup, and that I'm happy just sitting it out and making sure her cake is perfect. She snapped back with, "You're my sister, and I want you up there. It won't hurt you to dye it brown for a day. I love your hair, but it's my day, and I want all the attention on me, not your hair." I simply responded back with, "I still stand by my decision to sit this one out," and she just said, "Well, we have a year to discuss it." There is absolutely nothing to discuss. I'm not dyeing my hair brown for a wedding. Therefore, I simply won't be in my sister's wedding. Am I the asshole for not letting everyone's opinions and guilt make me change my hair for her big day? Oh boy. OP added an edit. So, OP put in the edit, "During our conversation, I did make a joke about wearing a wig, and she didn't find that funny, nor seemed keen on my solution. I also mentioned slicking my hair back into a low, pretty bun, so facing forwards, you wouldn't really see much of my hair. That also wasn't a good solution. I did also tell her I would consider lightening my hair to a silver platinum, and that way I could easily have it changed back to my lilac. I know it's an issue because my mom was defending her, stating it's just hair and I can change it back from brown. Not the case, obviously. I'm dreading this conversation coming up again. I am a baker, side gig, and I happily offered to make their cake. It's something I enjoy doing. It's always been something we talked about was me making her cake. However, it's a very extravagant 4-tier cake that is going to be very flowered up. In my mind, I assumed I wouldn't be asked to be a part of her wedding since I told her the morning of her wedding I'll be stacking the tiers into getting the flowers placed how she wants, and I'd just be in my own little world getting that perfectly together. Never in a million years did I think there'd be an issue with my hair being in the wedding and getting the cake together all at once. Whew, as someone with purple hair, I will not censor myself for you. Well, yeah, I mean, I understand where the sister is coming from and being like, oh, it's my special day. And all, but, like, I don't know, the people who try to perfectly try to control their wedding in, like, every little aspect, even down to, like, the dresses the bridesmaids wear, and the even type of hairstyles that they wear is, like, a little weird to me, personally. Girl, I'm not gonna dye my hair for one day, get the fuck out. I mean, yeah, like, I've never dyed my hair before, obviously. I don't know the throes of how hard it is to dye your hair back to a certain color once you dye it to, like, your natural color. I'm assuming it's really hard, especially with, like, the bleaching and stuff like that. But, like, is this person the asshole? I don't think so. Excuse me, not in my opinion anyway, but let's see what the people have to say. Alright, Ignat Sage wrote, "Not the asshole. Your sister is much too full of herself. She is fine to have that as a requirement of a bridesmaid, but you are also completely entitled to reject it. Her trying to bully and manipulate you is big asshole energy. Side question, because I don't know too much about it, but why is the requirement always to dye their hair? Isn't a wig much less damaging solution? You still don't need to do that. I just have seen multiple bridezillas demanding people dye their hair, and it never made sense to me. I don't see the issue with a wig. They can look realistic depending on the quality." Exactly, yeah, there's nothing wrong with a wig. Which anyway, OP responded to Ignat Sage saying, "I did joke about wearing a wig. It got shut down fast. I also said I could just slick it all back into a pretty bun, and I'd probably look bald, but it wouldn't be an issue. That also got shut down." It can be damaging to re-dye your hair a lot. Some colors are pretty hard to get, especially pastel colors. Oh, I see. I see. She presented two pretty good solutions, so she's already putting in more effort than is required of her. Exactly, yeah. Top tier users wrote, "Not the asshole. I don't understand the narcissistic attitude that often plagues even the most humble of women on their wedding day." Okay, let's not call the woman narcissistic. Let's just call her a little bit, like, picky. That doesn't make her a narcissist, it just makes her picky. Heaven forbid someone thinks a bridesmaid's hair is pretty. Why does this matter? Is it insecurity? Okay, OP posted a picture of themselves. I'm not gonna show them. But, okay, OP made a response here, and a different response stating, "I'm glad I asked this now. It was already an issue for my mom and some of my sister's close friends that I stood my ground saying I'm not okay. I'm okay not being in the wedding. I know once it gets closer it'll be a more pressed issue. I did mention, it repeats the wig thing. I also told her I'd be happy to slip my hair back. I told her lightening it to silver, and she insists on brown hair." Okay, so she was just reiterating what we already knew. A lot of people are just saying, "Not the asshole." So, I think we all unanimously agree that OP is indeed not the asshole in this situation. Excuse me, oh goodness. Whenever I re-dye my hair, I try and make the color last a month minimum. I see. Okay. Let's see, what do we got? Am I the asshole for speaking to my stepmom like she's dumb? Oh dear. Am I the asshole saying I will not spend Father's Day with my stepfather instead of my dad? I don't know what "am I the asshole" with an H at the end means. Is there any, like... Oh, here we are. No, okay, what does the H at the end mean? What does the H at the end mean, though? Just telling my mother I'm not replaying replacement to her kids anymore. For telling my wife to fucking relax after she made a big deal of a mess in her car? Hang on a minute, I want to know what this one's all about. Oh my god, this is 587 comments and like 1,000 upvotes. And everyone, oh, I saw one, oh, the comments seem very split. Ooh, okay, this one might be interesting. Hang on. Okay. I think this one's okay. I think we can get a by with this one. Asshole, yeah. Well, I know it's "am I the asshole?" Is it just asshole then? We'll just put an extra H at the end? Interesting, okay. Alright. So, this person put, "Am I the asshole for telling my wife to fucking relax after she made a big deal of a mess in her car?" OP puts in the post, "Currently on a road trip with my kids, 9 female and, or 9F and 8F, and my niece, 6F, and my nephew, 6M, with my wife, 38F. Well, last night on our way, we took our food to go, and obviously with 4 kids in the car, that means mess. I like to keep my car clean, and so does my wife, but this was bound to happen anyways, and we didn't buy a huge SUV for nothing. Well, as expected, my niece dropped her burger over a pothole. That's fine, we can clean it later, but why? God in heaven, let me speak. My wife was ready to let it rip on my niece, but luckily I stopped her. We pulled over at a rest stop to clean it up, and I was picking up lettuce and onion remnants from the mats. My wife is babbling to me about how from now on no eating or drinking in the car, her idea to go, by the way, and all other stuff. After a bit more of that, I was kind of getting annoyed, so I told her to fucking relax and just relax. That it wasn't a big deal. I get she's stressed, but it's not something to really worry about at the moment, in my opinion. Am I the asshole? She seems a bit annoyed now. Oh boy. Hang on, I'm gonna put my water away because I need the rest of it for when I sleep tonight, but also just Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. What am I getting a message about? Hello? Okay. My girlfriend showed me the swath of color, or swatch of color that she got from the lady's hair from the last post, and like, yeah, that is a hard color to get. Anyway. So oh boy. Oh boy, what do I have to say about this one? The guy shouldn't have snapped at his wife to told her to relax. It would especially just be like, fucking relax. And that it's not a big deal. You know how hard it is to get food shit off of the floors of cars and stuff? Like, even drinks? I remember when I was little and I would, like, my mom told me, do not, if I ate in the car, to be careful about eating in the car and to, like, eat in the, like, bag or whatever so that I wouldn't get shit all over her car. And there was one time I spilt lemonade on accident in her car, and she got so fucking mad at me because I spilt lemonade on her car. They, like, cleaned it up, though. It wasn't my fault. Like, it was an accident. Like, the car turned, and I lost my grip on the drink, and I was, like, being as humanly careful as I could, and it just spilt everywhere. But we cleaned it up just fine. But, like, it is hard to get the shit out of the car regardless. Even, like, food and, like, drinks and stuff. No, I get it. But also to, like, yell at your child for, an easy mistake as, like, dropping a burger because you went over a pothole is a little bit much. So I'm gonna say, like, everyone sucks here. Honestly. Like, I wouldn't yell at a child. Opie was unnecessarily aggressive, in my opinion, yeah. If I remember correctly, my parents would be like, oh, dang, that sucks, better clean it up. Yeah. Well, your parents were better about it than mine. My mom literally got so mad at me, she would rant at me about the fact that I spilled lemonade and I shouldn't have because she literally told me not to spill the lemonade in the car. But that was my mom. We have a lot of differences in parents, but, like, it's still... also, if the wife is already upset, swearing at her will not de-escalate the situation. Exactly. But, yeah, like, getting upset at a kid for something like dropping food in a car, like, it's one thing if it's an adult, it's another thing if it's a 6-year-old child. The poor kid is, like, gonna get upset at the yelling in the first place, because they're like, oh my god, I did something wrong, and like, they're gonna get upset because they're being yelled at, and not so much about the thing that's going on. It's better to direct your energy and be like, oh, like, just, we need to be more careful about how we handle food in the car. If we're coming up on a pothole, maybe I should let you guys know ahead of time so that you guys will, be careful and hold on to your food a little bit tighter. Maybe put it in the bag for a minute so that once we cross the pothole, you guys will be okay. Just, like, de-escalate the situation by not yelling at the kid, I guess, honestly. Being a tiny child being yelled at by a larger, older human for a minor mistake can be very scary. Oh, yes. There are so many experiences in my life where I made like the tiniest mistake and I got yelled at for it, and it literally made me bawl my fucking eyes out and scared me so much that I was so afraid of making any mistake ever. And I still have that mentality even now. Like, I remember I lost something once that was just very inconsequential, and my mom yelled at me and was like, what do you mean you lost it? Like, can't you find it? Like, go find it. And I was like, I don't know, I'm trying to ask for help, like, just to get another pair of eyes to help me. And my mom was just so fucking mad at me about it and just kept yelling at me that I was that I lost something in the first place and I should have kept my eyes on it better. So just handle the situation a little bit with a little bit more grace and ease. And I understand it's stressful when you're on a road trip and you're on the road and you have a lot of young kids in the car, but you just should not yell at the kids, especially if it's something like this. You know, they're not gonna learn from it. They're just gonna learn to get better at hiding certain things like that. It's not even the kid's fault. They drove over a pothole. Could have happened to anyone. Exactly. It's a fucking pothole. You can't avoid it's a pothole, man. Anyway, let's see how derisive the comments got. Haunting-Juice983 wrote, everyone sucks here. No one in history in a wild state has responded well to calm down, or in your words, fucking relax, male, female, or otherwise. I've both given and received this advice. I can't think of one situation it was positive. But I get your initial reaction that it's an easy fix and a child shouldn't cop a reaction. Excuse me. A burger got dropped. It's an easy fix and clean. Irritating? Yeah. Life ending? No. Hell, I'm 42 and drop food in the car all the time. You can't get cranky at kids for having an accident over a pothole. Exactly. You can't get... It's a pothole, literally. Okay, so clear_bluebird 1925 wrote, not the asshole, but everyone is probably stressed and annoyed. I know I wouldn't take it well if my husband told me to fucking relax on a road trip for God knows how long while in a car with 4 young kids. But then lady_r_ replied and put, well, what does she expect when you have 4 kids eating in the car, in the car? What do you think is going to happen? Husband's trying to clean it up and drive, and she's freaking out because a hamburger got dumped in the car. I would have told her to fucking relax too. Well, no, honestly, I don't think that's the route you should take. If someone is upset about something, I think you should let them get it off of their chest first, and then have like a conversation about it afterward. Just let them get all those initial feelings out, and then we'll go like, okay, thank you for sharing with me how you felt in that moment, but here's how we should go about it, because I don't feel the same way that you do. Like, just have a conversation about the whole thing. Like, even then, it was unpreventable. Like, hit a pothole. I don't know what the wife expected, but regardless, the husband should not have said to the wife to fucking relax. That's bad choice wording and just very aggressive. And also the wife should have just, I don't know why you get mad at a kid about that. Like, it reminds me of one time when I was younger and my family was on a road trip. I forgot something in the car and was stressing out, and my dad gladly went and searched for it in the morning. We were at a hotel and it was late at night when I realized, oh, well, that's a good de-escalatory thing to do. Like, oh, you're freaking out about something and you're worried you're gonna get in trouble, but you just admit to it, and instead of getting mad at you about it, the parent's like, okay, no problem, we'll go fix it, and then went. That's good. That's a good parenting example right there. Always try your best to de-escalate. Exactly. It never helps to go about the same level that a person is at when they're angry, because it just causes more problems than it solves, because you're giving the same energy back to the person who's giving you already a certain amount of energy to you, so like bouncing back like that is just going to cause more problems. Anyway, TAWSTWFG wrote, she seems a bit annoyed now. No kidding. Everyone sucks here. Your wife sucks for wanting to excoriate a child for dropped food. You suck for cursing at your wife. I get that things can be stressful with a carload of kids, but geez. Excoriate? What does this mean? Time to look up a new word. It means to damage or remove a part of the surface of the skin. Ooh. Well, you learned a new word today, chat, and so did I. I didn't even know that was a word. Holy cowabunga, dude. What in the world? Anyway, I think I'm feeling at least one more, maybe 2 more posts. We'll see how I feel when I get to the next one, and if I'm not feeling it, then I'll just call it, but we'll see. I'm feeling like 1 or 2 more posts, so let's see what we got. Am I the asshole for making my nephew eat the food he ruined? Oh dear. Not sure about that one. Am I the asshole for excluding my gay adult nephew from my gay social events when he says attending the events is a need for him, not a want? I want to know about this one. Hang on a moment. I'm gonna look into it real quick, but I just want to know what the fuck. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. Ooh. Okay. This one might be interesting. There's a censored slur in there. I'm not gonna say it, obviously, because it's a slur. But you can tell what it is based on the censoring. So don't say it in chat. When you see it, just be normal. Please. Okay. Yeah, I really asked my parents for help on anything, as a child, because I'd usually either get in trouble or insulted. Treat your kids like human beings. Exactly. One time when I was in 5th grade, I was told to define a city, and I used the word metropolitan, and even the teacher was shocked that I knew such a big word in 5th grade. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I knew a lot of big words growing up, too, because I read the dictionary a lot. For fun. Gosh, I'm sharing so many stories tonight. That's fine. I share a lot of stories with you guys, so it's only fair that you guys share stories back. It's not against the rules. You guys can share stories in chat. I love seeing you guys' stories. It's good. I love to get to know the people that come to my chat and hang out with me. So thank you for sharing. I love hearing from you guys. All right, so this one's gonna be a mess. I can already tell, but let's see what we got here. So it says, am I the asshole for excluding my gay adult nephew from my gay social events when he says attending the events is a need for him and not a want? Alright, let's see what OP has to say. It's also in poo mode, and it's not on lockdown, but I guess it's kind of a lockdown, so let's see. My brother has 2 young adult children, Maisie, 19, and Cassidy, 18. I am a gay man in my 50s. Both Macy and Cassidy are very young for their ages. They live out their lives entirely online, and neither of them have any real-life friends. They are both very into fandoms around boy bands. They both have some interest in fashion, which they follow on social media. I'm a chronic yapper in chat. Don't worry about it, yeah. Roughly 2 years ago, Cassie announced identifying as a male. Okay, so he's trans. Let's go. As part of this, Cassie changed fashion somewhat to be a kind of goth, glam, androgynous look. Okay. Cassie has long hair and wears a great deal of makeup, and this did not change after the announcement, but Cassie began adding in a mustache and small goatee, which were applied with makeup. Oftentimes I lurk in stream chats, but when I'm given a great opportunity to begin talking for hours, I will take it. That's so fair. I am part of a very tight-knit group of friends in this city who are all gay men. Cassie never showed much interest in my social life before, but after his announcement, he began asking to attend my social events. I told Cassie once he turned 18, he could come. All of my friends are in their 40s and 50s, and most of them are married with kids. We drink wine and talk about our lives, and it's usually very domestic, but it can get raunchy. Oh boy. The first uncomfortable part was that anytime there was any reference to sex, Cassie would loudly huff and sigh and at one point rush out of the room. I'm presuming Cassie is not comfortable with sex, but I am not going to babysit him as he is an adult. Once Cassie had a glass or 2 of wine, he loosened up more, but it got worse. The word F-slur started flowing out of Cassie's mouth nonstop. Cassie repeatedly talked about how every aspect of himself proved how much he was such a F-slur and had always been one. Cassie brought up his love of fashion and boy bands as examples of this. This caused a stunned, uncomfortable silence in the room. Each and every one of us in that room, besides Cassie, had been called that word before by someone who was in the midst of doing terrible things to us or threatening them. Cassie has never been in a position to be called that in any context. As Cassie had more wine, he kept on changing the subject back to his boy bands. We are grown-ups with interesting lives, and none of us are interested in boy bands. Anytime the conversation strayed from fashion or boy bands, Cassie hijacked it back as he got more drunk. People started leaving, and I was furious. Because Cassie is apparently terrified of confrontation, I told my brother that Cassie will not be welcome back to any of my events until he grows up more. Apparently Cassie had a meltdown and said that he needed to attend these events to be part of his community, and it was a need for him, not a want. My brother is acting like I'm responsible for Cassie's mental health. Am I the asshole? Oh my god, okay. Okay, there's a lot to unpack with this one. I need a second. Oh boy. Okay, so Cassie is obviously like I guess a part of like my kind of like generation where we grew up online as opposed to intermingling with groups of different people with different life experiences when it comes to the LGBT community. And he has a certain idea of I guess how conversation should go. This one is a doozy, yeah. I'm trying to approach this a certain way and I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to think, man. Like, understandably, hijacking conversation to try to make it all about you and your interests is not appropriate in any sort of way. And you should give room for all kind of conversation to happen. And, like, talking about your specific interests are fine. I'm not saying you can't. It's just, like, you need to not hijack the conversation and make it all about you. And you should let other people talk. As for the incidents and saying the F slur, if people are uncomfortable, especially if it's a group of gay men and you yourself are trans and a gay man yourself and you're saying the F slur so freely to a group of other gay men who are uncomfortable with that term, I think you should just not say it. Honestly, just, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of discourse around that word. Yeah. Like, if people are uncomfortable with you saying the F slur around them, obviously don't say it. Like, I think that should be the shortened end of it. No one is obligated to invite anyone to anything ever, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I think when you're in a group, especially if you're younger and you're in a group of, like, older people, you should, like, take cues from them about how you should act with them. Or, like, just, I don't know, just listen, I guess. Like, I guess I'll use myself as an example. I didn't grow up with a lot of older queer people. The closest I have is my uncle. But even then, I rarely saw him. So, like, being in a group of, like, elderly or older queer people, if I were to be in conversation with them, I would obviously just let them talk and listen to them so that I could hear their experiences, and if I had questions, I might interject here and there, but obviously I don't want to interrupt the flow of conversation and make it all about my experiences unless they ask me specifically about my experiences. But, like, it's like an invitation to be asked as opposed to, like, inserting yourself. And sure, you can insert yourself into the conversation, but just like I said, don't make it about yourself. I don't know, I hope I'm making sense. If people are uncomfortable with you reclaiming a slur, then it's not up to you whether you or not you can say it. It is up to them, exactly. And it's very clear that the OP and his friends are very uncomfortable with that term because they have personal experience with being discriminated against using said term. So even if you're not comfortable, or like if you are comfortable with calling yourself that and are like saying it openly, you should still be mindful of those around you who might be uncomfortable with that specific term because of that experience that they had. Or at least apologize and don't react by forcing yourself back into the event. Exactly. Exactly. Because you've made a very bad impression in what you did. So you, like, just don't be a dick. Alright. I'm so scared to see what the comments are. Oh boy, let's see. Alright. Dessert Killer wrote, "He clearly doesn't relate to or have respect for you and your group of friends, and I personally don't feel like you and your friends are his community. You are not responsible for his mental health, and I don't see how him attending these social events would be good for his mental health anyway. Maybe encourage him to find people he relates to more, not the asshole." That's a good point. That is good. Yes, encourage him to find the people that he relates to more. Encourage him to find his own community rather than trying to, like, insert himself into, like, yours, I guess. Like, it's like, I get the hype of wanting to hang around your friends, but also, like, sometimes people just don't gel together. And you should just, I don't know, just find some people that you want to vibe with instead of trying to force yourself into a group, I guess. I have a very difficult time imagining being like that because I am always so paranoid about upsetting whatever social groups I am a part of. Exactly. I'm always paranoid that I'm going to be the problem in any social situation that I'm in, so I'm always letting the people take the conversation on more than I am, and then I adapt as the conversation goes on. And, like, if I fuck up, then I will admit I fucked up, because I'm not, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that I do fuck up in conversation sometimes, and I want to be better about that, so I'm learning and growing. And when I say a fuck up in conversation, I just mean, like, I might say something wrong, I might interject at the wrong time, and stuff like that. Yeah, I get making a blunder, but he isn't showing respect. Exactly. Exactly. I just, like, I'm just thinking about myself, and if I did this to my gay uncle, he would be so fucking pissed at me. Like, he would be such, like, he would tell me straight up, just be like, you shut the fuck up. You're being a dick. He would just tell me. If I disrespected him, if I was still identifying as a trans man and I kept saying the F slur and just generally disrespected his friends and was being a dick in the situation, he would just tell me to shut the fuck up and get the fuck out. He would not be happy about it in the slightest, and I wouldn't blame him at all. Let's see. I'm offensive child. I just think the kid's a little overeager. I wouldn't say offensive per se. Like I said, I understand where Cassie's coming from in this situation because I grew up online and didn't have the chance to have social circles, but that also doesn't excuse him from being a dick in conversation. I wouldn't say he's offensive, I just think he's overeager and he was trying a little too hard and then didn't take the hint and then got mad instead of taking it with stride, I guess. I have a lesbian aunt, but she's on my father's side, so I never got the chance to talk to her much. I'm so sorry. I don't have any lesbians in my family. I'm the only lesbian. My uncle's the trophy gay. I'm the trophy lesbian. Oh, you see where I struggled? I just have no lesbians in my life. Anyway. I just had a lot of gay men. I grew up with a lot of gay men in my life. Anyway. Let's read some more comments, and then I think I'm gonna call it, because my throat's killing me. Horsey Girl WH wrote, Cassie is in the wrong age group to hang out with you. They can go to a gay bar to find people their age. You're not the asshole for wanting him this person's misgendering him. He can go to a gay bar to find people his age. You're not the asshole for wanting him to hang out with you and people old enough to be his father. Dang, I have no queer family members. I guess I'm the trophy. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. It's like, wait a second, there's no gay family members around? Wait a second, I am the gay family member. It's just like that, man. It sucks. Infinite_slide_5921 wrote, frankly, I think OP was not an asshole, but incredibly foolish to allow a barely adult boy to come to a gathering of middle-aged men. I get that he may have wanted to be supportive to his nephew, but why did he ever think this would go well? Oh man. Yeah. Okay, so Mine wrote, just because people are part of the LGBTQ community doesn't necessarily mean they have anything in common. This applies to all of the groups as well. Not the asshole. Oh, dear. You're not a writer, but can I ask you a probably controversial question? If it's offensive, then no. If it's not, then maybe. Just you be careful what you're saying in chat, because you could get a ban. Also, I am a writer. I write off to the side. I'm an artist/writer. I write for fun though. I don't write for profit. In the meantime, I'm just gonna read one more comment, and then we'll call it. Firm-Molasses-4913 wrote, "Not the asshole. Oh lord, what a mess. Cassie is too young for this group, and too young to be drinking to relax and to the point of drunkenness. And Cassie wants to be treated like an adult, but can't handle a confrontation? Too bad. Do not go through your brother, but communicate with Cassie yourself. He obviously sees you as some sort of mentor or gateway to a community he's drawn to. Be calm and kind, listen and be supportive, but don't host Cassie with your older friends again. Tell your brother, of course, Cassie is too young to be exclusively befriend a much older group of men. You don't share the same interests, and he drank in excess, and it wasn't appropriate. This is a proxy argument for Cassie's problem, and as long as they focus on your exclusion, they can avoid the real issues. With your brother, don't get drawn into providing what Cassie needs, because it's not a group of much older men at a completely different stage of life." I just could not process what that said, but I agree somewhat. Yeah, I agree. It depends on where the question's coming from, yeah. Okay, well, I think that's all that we have in terms of reading. And I'm at the asshole post for now. That was interesting. What did we learn today, folks? Don't ask questions on Reddit, or else you're gonna get a lot of, you're either gonna be an asshole or you're not gonna be an asshole, I guess. I don't know. Don't ask Reddit, I guess. I'm talking about a character? Well, it still can go either way. Just be cautious, please. I'm begging you. Be normal. Please. We've had a lot of weirdos come through chat. I just am very cautious. Like, I say weirdos, but also, like, bigots. We've had bigots come through chat, and I just am, like, overly cautious. Because I just want to make sure the community is going to be okay, and that, you know, we aren't going to have a bunch of bigots secretly hiding in chat and causing problems, you know? It's for D&D table, and I don't want to get harassed. Okay, I mean, if you want to ask it, but like I said, if your message contains anything funky, we will delete it. And you may or may not get banned. Moral of the story, don't let Reddit strangers influence your life decisions. Yeah, don't rely completely on the internet to answer your questions. Get a whole bunch of different, views from other people. Like, converse with people, certainly. But don't rely completely on the internet for answers to your problems, you know? Because the internet's not gonna have all your problems solved. Sometimes you just gotta experience life to solve certain issues. I'm struggling. I'm so sorry. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Well, fun in the way of like, Okay, I'm just gonna let my girlfriend answer that one, because she's more of a D&D nerd than I am. But yeah, moral of the story, don't let strangers on Reddit influence your life decisions. If you think you might be the asshole in a situation, just talk it out with people. The best thing you can do, in certain situations, is just have a conversation with people to work it out. Or, you know, go to therapy. You know, you can't go wrong with the therapy session. If you're able to afford it. Not a lot of people are able to afford it, and not a lot of people are able to, not a lot of people think therapy is the best fit for them, and that's completely and utterly fine. It's okay. It's alright. My brain. Help me. But yeah, so, my brain needs to focus. This is what happens whenever it gets tired. It just starts to stop focusing, and I hate my neurodivergent brain so bad. Oh my god, anyway. So, right. Okay. Just talk it out. But it's okay also if you can't access therapy. It's okay if therapy's not the best fit for you. Just do your best, okay? We're all fumbling through life. We're all working through problems, but just like communication is the key to a lot of them, you know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm also stalling to let my girlfriend answer this poor Chatters' question. Oh, hey, also don't pressure my girlfriend like that. Be like, oh, you gotta help me meet tomorrow. Like, if she doesn't wanna help you out, that's her prerogative. Oh my goodness, anyway. Okay, I'm gonna end stream. I haven't figured out what we're gonna do next stream because I'm struggling, honestly. I've been thinking of like, I still have a thing where I want to do like a Where Are They Now segment with like catching up on old series that I did reviews on, like, Needle Mouse, what the epilogue, like after the fact was like, or the Lacey's series, probably. I did like the 2 videos from it and I kind of want to see more of it, but I don't know, I'm terrified I'm gonna catch a TOS violation. Yeah. Excuse me for being so late. No, don't worry about it. So, I'm trying to figure it out. Well, I'm trying to figure out what we do for next stream. Well, I'll try to figure something out. I'm so sorry I'm getting distracted toward the end here. My brain is, like, blanking. I don't know, I guess all the reading just, like, my brain just, like, shut down, and I'm just like, ugh. So I'm trying my darndest to keep focus and end the stream. But thank you all for coming out tonight. I appreciate it, as always. You guys are wonderful. You guys are wonderful. I love hanging out with you all. I'll try to figure something out. Maybe we'll play a game. I actually have been wanting to play Kinito Pet, but I don't think I can play it on stream because that would require me showing off my desktop, and I'm pretty sure that that game will dox me and my real name and my address, but I desperately want to play that game, so I may or may not just record a session on my own for you all separately, but we'll see. We'll see. But in any case, thank you all for coming out tonight. Make sure you get something to eat. If you haven't eaten anything yet, make sure that you get something to drink. If you haven't drank anything yet, make sure to take your meds. If you haven't yet, drink your meds. Drink your meds. Sorry, take your meds. That's very important. Especially if you haven't yet. Make sure you do your homework or study for that test if you haven't yet. It's better to do it late than never, as I always say. Make sure you pet your pets, water your plants, take a shower if you haven't yet, brush your hair, brush your teeth, do what you need to do to take care of yourselves. Just know that I love you and I care about you, and there are people in your life that love and care about you as well. And I will see you guys next stream. Bye! Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye! 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 Bye, everyone.